Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting, folks. It's a wonderful night. Playoff action is in the air here at the Darlington, South Carolina Raceway. It's going to be fun to watch here for the Wicked Racing League for their Buttkicker Cup Series. second to last race here tonight, as we're going to get ready to decide our final 4 drivers who are going to be competing for a championship next week here live on Freaky Fast at the Kansas Motor Speedway. But it all kicks off here, like I said, at the Darlington Raceway. Is this 1.36 mile racetrack, always known to be too tough to tame, and it's going to be very similar for that condition tonight in these next gen Cup Series cars. As it's going to be the Sundance Pizza 175 here from the Darlington Raceway, and we're going to get a great show, I think, underneath the sunlight right now, as I think we should transition later into the lights. That'll be a special moment to see. But as you can see on our ticker right now, qualifying is just beginning. But tonight, my name is Zach Hall, and joined alongside me for this early portion of the broadcast will be our producer, Robert Moyer, while he gets stuff loaded in the background. We'll get a talk with him in just a little bit, but we'll also have Brandon Colley, our co-commentator here, joining us just a little bit into the race tonight, as it looks like first couple times have started to come in here for qualifying, and some fast ones it is. It's Adam Buzzio topping the time and sheets so far with the 5 machine, looking very, very strong for himself. We'll see if it's the second lap that comes back around to prevail these guys to where their starting position. And we know the Darlington Raceway is the track too tough to tame. Always good to get a good qualifying spot here, because it can make or break your race when it comes to that track position. And at the moment, it looks like Mason Halsman atop the board there with a 29.301. Is we're having more drivers putting times in, but we got Robert Moyer, our producer and co-commentator here for the early portion of the nights. Robert, it is the second to last race here, man. Darlington Raceway. What a tough track for these drivers to come here to battle for those final 4 spots.
Oh, that's right, Zach. I mean, here we are. You know, we're coming down to 2 more races to go here. You got tonight and next week to crown a champion, and we got 8 drivers. Actually 7, I do believe. I forget. I gotta look at the standings. Don't we have 1 driver locked in already?
Yes, we do. Gavin Rogers, with that win last week at Dover, locked himself in. So he's locked in. No worries for Gavin Rogers. Right now, the drivers that are in the good when it comes to points coming in here tonight is Alex Coffey. He has about an 18-point gap to the cutoff, which is a good gap to have. But remember, Wicked Racing League has 2 stages where 10 points are given out to the top 10 positions, and that can really change things up very, very quickly. Third is going to be Steven Stimpian coming in here tonight. He's actually sitting atop the board right now on qualifying, so that's good for him. He's 11 points to the good. Mason Halsman is right on the edge of the cutoff, so he's in 4th, and he'll have a 9-point gap to Adam Buzzio. So it is going to be wild to see, but Coffey, Stimpy, and Halsman right now good on points, but it's going to be Buzzio, Reed, Camper, and Borbell, the 4 other drivers here competing. And like we got on our ticker right here, Robert, they have the purple banners on their cars. We got the purple banners here on the ticker.
That's right. So now you can follow here for the last 2 races here of this season here. You'll be able to see where your favorite driver is and the drivers that are in the playoffs. So you can see there 1st, 2nd, and 3rd right there are playoff drivers, and so forth down through. You'll be able to tell exactly where they're running and how they're doing here tonight at Darlington. Like you said, the lady in black, too tough to tame, whatever you want to call it. She can be a very nice lady, and sometimes she can be a very mean lady. And we don't know what we're going to get yet here until we see about lap 50 how these cars are going to be handling here and how the drivers are going to be handling it here. But again, thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight at Wicked Racing League here at Darlington. And man, Zach, I'm excited here because you got some drivers that are in the playoffs here that got to go for a win. You got some drivers that it's all about the stage points are going to help, of course, but you also got other competitors that can take points from you, or even the playoff drivers that are in the playoffs taking points from you to try to, leap bound just to make it in on points if you don't get that victory here tonight. So every position, every pit stop, every no matter what you do, it's going to be crucial here for some of these drivers.
It really is, Robert. It's going to be fun to watch because we got drivers. I mean, Buzzio 9 points out. Cody Reed is 13 out. Dakota Camper 21 points out, and Stephen Borbell 22 points out. With the way those gaps are, there is a chance for all those drivers to point their way in still. And like you said, if they get a win, they're going to be able to get it done out there and lock themselves in. So it's going to be fun to watch, but it looks like that time has come. The starting grid is starting to form up, and we got our end of qualifying. So we'll get our starting results up here, and we'll get to see our 17 drivers here tonight starting at the Darlington Raceway for the Sundance Pizza 175 here at the Wicked Racing League. As it's Steven Stempien with a beautiful time there to put him atop the board, looking to lock himself into that next round. Second's going to be Mason Halsman, a great time from the 78 machine. Third's going to go to Alex Coffey. Fourth is going to be Dakota Camper. Fifth going to be all the way there in the 45 of Dallas Manis. Sixth is going to go to the 5 of Adam Buzzio. Seventh is going to be Stephen Borbell. Eighth is going to go to Carl Pooler. Ninth is going to be Blaine Wilson. Lining up 10th will be Jimmy Kubanek. 11th will be Johnny Shade. 12th is going to be Cody Reed. 13th, Jamie Plorden, surprising, the guy who's locked in here tonight. We'll expect to see what he does through the order. 14th is Gavin Rogers. 15th, Richard Wolsifer. And 16th is going to be Christian DeRoches with Chad Bean rounding out the field here tonight for our 17 cars. But what a grid we got here, Robert. And right now, Steven Stempien, he's got to be like starting up front.
Oh, most definitely. You can see him up here starting on the pole here, with Freaky Fast Racing. It's also in Cat 5. But like you said, all the way through the rest of these lineups here, Zach, it's looking pretty good. You got some stout drivers. You got Adams, just watching on Discord, apparently he's becoming the forever number 3. I think that's what they're calling him, because he finishes in third all the time. So can he better by getting second or even just getting a win? Wouldn't that be something for him?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying the forever third hashtag.
There it is.
So we'll see if Adam Buzzio can break that, and you never know. I mean, he might break it at the most crucial time here next week at Kansas and go and get that first victory and that first championship. So those will be great times for him to change the way of that landscape of how it's gone for him so far into 2 seasons here at the Wicked Racing League. But the one thing also, we've never raced here in Wicked Racing League history at Darlington Raceway. This is going to be fun to watch. We also got a new damage model that I watched some guys wrecking in practice. This is a brutal damage model. When you wreck and you hit hard, pieces and parts of this car fly off, and you're going to have to try to make sure that doesn't end up ending your night quickly. They do have that one fast repair, Robert, so they have something to fall back on, but it's still Darlington. Like you said, it can be a mean lady.
Oh, most definitely could be a mean lady. And like you said, the new damage model I've been watching just in the Coke series. We watched the Coke last night. Now they were at Las Vegas, but there was a big wreck sack in pieces. Man, it looked like everybody lost their front ends. I mean, there was pieces flying all over the place. So again, here you got to watch the toe link. Here in these cars are very sensitive. And the front end, you start beating and banging that front end, you're not going to have a front end, 50 laps into this race. So we'll have to see how this all plays out, man, as they get going through turn 3 and 4 here to get ready to get the green flag for tonight's event.
That it is. Pace car pulling in. We're ready for 175 laps. Stage 1 at the end of lap 50. It's Steven Stempien out in front in 81. Here leading the field to green. As they come into the restart zone, the green flag is out. Steven Stempien going to lead us across the line here for the Sundance Pizza 175 down into 1 and 2 for the first time, and the 81 will clear for the lead.
And that's it. 81 clears for the lead, but this is where the crucial is right now. Lap number 1 here, cold tires and trying to get through 1 and 2. It can be a bottleneck, but right now it looks like they're going to start getting single file here, Zach, and that's the best thing to do here at Darlington. Just get in your rhythm, get in line, and then just wait for the guy in front of you to make a mess up, and then you'll be able to pounce on them, as they go across the start-finish line here.
That is very crucial, Robert. I think it's smart for drivers to get single file. We're having a little bit of beating banging actually going on back there around Blaine Wilson in the 18 machine. He got a little bit of a door-to-door action there between the two of him and Borbell that quickly gets worked out there after the exit of 2, but those two definitely made a little slight bit of contact, but luckily they both scathed away from it so far. But it just shows you Darlington can creep up on you, and even Johnny Shea behind now, he's under attack from Jamie Plord, so drivers trying to make up spots here early.
Yeah, make spots up early, like you said here, Zach. And the thing is that you got to watch as Johnny gets into the wall here. And this is what, watch Carl Poor. They're going to be side by side beating and banging. And this is what you're going to see at Darlington, baby, as right there is the big one. We said it, and, well, it just happened.
That it did, but right now, no caution on the speedway right now. Pooler's still spun around, and he's getting it going, and that's not going to bring out yellow. This is a trend of this track. You have incidents that happen on the back straightaway, and once they go down below that dash white line, really those first 3 lanes on the racetrack there with the silver and the pavement, you can see it just does not bring out a yellow. So it has to happen up above there and in where the drivers are racing, and that's what keeps us green here. So tough break for Carl Poulter. There is he's gonna have to be just getting back up to speed, as now we got Adam Bussio. Looks like he's trying to make the pass there on Alex Coffey. So great move there from the 5 machine to move himself up to 4th.
Moving himself up to 4th, and you know, he's looking for 2 more positions to at least get 2nd.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
He would love to gain that for sure. And those would be valuable bonus points, because that lap 50 stage, we know how crucial points can be. And I tell you, getting yourself right up here, it can give you that chance in that final run of the race to take a little bit more risk because of the points gap you have compared to the people around you. But right now, it's still clean selling up front from Steven Stippian. And, you know, I actually got something cool, because I know one of our viewers out there who's a pretty diehard viewer when it comes to watching these races out here, Robert, is Steven Stippian's father, and can say it is his birthday tonight. So happy birthday to Mr. Stippian. Thank you always for tuning in first off, but I hope you're having a wonderful birthday, especially your son leading up front.
You shouldn't have said that to me.
He's going to sing happy birthday here.
That's I'm going to be professional, Steve, okay? I won't do it. I'll do it afterwards.
We'll save it for later.
I'll record it and upload it.
There we go. Gotta love that.
Anyways,
always one of our great viewers out there. So again, shout out to him. He's a great guy. Man. Yeah, happy birthday to Mr. Stippian as he's watching his son lead the race. That's got to be a good present so far to start off his birthday evening here.
Kelly will sing
right
to
now.
Him. Go ahead, Kelly. Sing to him. Get the music. Get the little I don't know, cakes and, you know, birthday presents and the balloons popping on YouTube chat, you know, all night. Just tell him happy birthday. But yeah, anyways, wouldn't that be a great birthday present to see his son lock himself into the final 4, you know, here at Wicked Racing League? But last lap, Zach, you know, back to the racing is Adam put down the fastest lap of the race. So right now that 5 car is on a move right now, and the question is you know, we got to, you know, up to lap 50, we got to go for the first stage. How fast can you burn these tires off? Is he going to burn these tires off, or is it just pure your speed that he's having right now as he scrapes the wall, and that won't help too much?
Running lap times that are fast can be concerning. Definitely at this point in the run, you know, 9 laps in right here, these drivers could be using those tires up. And Buzzy, the one thing I'm watching he's doing a lot different than other people. He's running that much higher line in 3 and 4, which is a riskier line. You can carry more speed up there, up top. But that thing that concerns me about that top group is the tires. So we'll see how long the 5 can keep those tires underneath them. He is definitely looking quick at the moment, but I'm seeing a lot of drivers really from that 5th position on back, especially being led by Alex Coffey. There's a ton of saving going on with these guys. This is going to be the group to watch as the run continues on to see if they can gain on that first group of 4 who really just took off here to start this race.
Well, how are we looking at fuel-wise? You know, 50 laps here at Darlington. Should they be okay with fuel on an 80% tank?
Yes, we are plenty good for this first stage. The last run of the race, with it being 75 to 70 laps there, that's where I do have a little bit of concern with the 80% fuel load. If we had 100% fuel load, I think we could make it green all the way to the end of the race with no stop in that final dash to the end. But I think it could be close in that last one. But these first 2 stages should be no problems. I think the concern they'll have mostly is the wall and the tires.
Tires, yeah. Which one would it be, tires or the wall? I'd probably be more worried about, man, I don't know. I'd probably say both at 50-50 because that wall, I remember that wall is not so nice, as you can see right there as the 45 just smacked it.
Yeah, he just got it into that wall just a tiny bit. Luckily for him, it was a light bit of contact, but there, that's a good bit of contact there in the center of 3 and 4, and that's easy to do. It is so easy at this track. I mean, there's a reason why they call it the Darlington Stripe. I mean, it is literally a track where you flirt with disaster every single lap of hitting that wall, and that's just how you got to drive to carry the speed around this old, worn-out surface. And right now, Dallas, man, it's 2 Darlington Stripes in a matter of 2 laps, and he even gets into it the next lap. So it just shows you off the exit of 2, Robert, it just really gets very narrow very quickly.
Well, yeah, I can see he's struggling right now. So I would imagine, too, dirty air is not going to help too good here as we watch Gavin Rogers there in that number 77 trying to get around Johnny here up in front of him as we're riding along with Cody Reed here in the number 25 up one position, running 11th right outside the top 10. And this next position here is crucial as, he gets into the wall a little bit. And you can see how the car it lost grip there, Zach, as he was going through the turn. It was turning, and bam, it also went towards the wall.
It really did. You just lose that nose, and that's those aero games that you play. And right now, Reed's got to worry about Plord right behind him in the 33 here, trying to take position of him. And Reed's one of our contenders for the championship, so he needs a good night here at Darlington. And I know he was talking about actually in the Discord coming into this race, saying he was very concerned about making even a lap around this place, how difficult it felt for him in this next-gen car. And you know, this car is just so different than anything else you race on the oval side of things that I can understand Reed just not coming to complete grips with it yet. So we'll see how the race works out for him tonight through here. But another thing I just noticed too, Robert, with it being Darlington, we get to see these cool throwback schemes too. So the 25 Cody Reed's got the cool Hot Wheels scheme.
Yeah, he's got that good old Hot Wheel. Yeah. I wonder who else is out there running any schemes that we haven't picked up on yet. I don't think
I
too
believe
many.
you got Steven Stympian is in the filter time. I know it's a Dell Jr. throwback there for him that Dell Jr. ran here at Darlington. I believe it's the Gray Ghost. Then also, I believe you have Gavin Rogers in the 77. He's in a very cool, I must say, Kevin Harvick throwback scheme. So he's got the old Goodwrench styled scheme there, and that thing looks beautiful, I must say. So definitely have to be looking through the rest of the field here myself and seeing if I notice a few other ones, but that one for sure sticks out to me right off the start.
Yeah, I can definitely say back in the day, this was one of my favorite paint schemes in the NASCAR era that I, watched. Was the Kevin Harvick when he first came in. I always liked that paint scheme. I thought it was a really nice one, but looking up here at Stephen Borbell, he's got the Ohio State machine. Now, that's not a throwback, but that is a very nice-looking scheme, I must say, for him. And he is also a playoff driver, running in 8th position, having a half-decent run here. And looks like he's just holding off, but it looks like everybody got single file here, and reading the Discord chat here, before the upcoming event here, Zach, a lot of drivers are just worried about this track here, and it seems like everybody's got the grasp of it so far.
It does seem that way. Everybody's done a really good job so far, and I think that's where Darlington is. You come in as a driver and you worry about how the race will be. You come in here and you say, man, this race could be completely terrible for all of us, just not work out well. None of us have a real good grasp on it. And then you come into Darlington like this, and the track kind of scares you into driving a little bit under the limit. And that can be a good thing. And that's where you get the whole saying of race to racetrack, not your competition. And that's why you see these spread out margins a lot of times. People get single file and really just run their own race because it's just hard enough to complete laps around here nonetheless, while actually having to worry about passing people. So it's one of those tracks where I feel like it's definitely a driver finesse track, and you got to be able to get around it very well and have the confidence also to go fast. If you ain't got confidence around here, you're going to be in for a long 175 laps.
Oh, most definitely. And the other thing too is if we're seeing the way this is starting to shape up here for the first stage, and this race folds out this way, Zach. Darlington is known to come down the fuel mileage, as we talked before. 75 laps, 70 laps, on that last stint to the end. You might see some drivers trying to save a little bit of fuel here and there to try to push the envelope. And I don't know how close they're going to be as, he got loose coming out of turn 2 there, as he's going to open it up to Dallas Manis now, and that number 45 is going to look up underneath him. As, nope, never mind. He's going to go into the wall.
Yeah, just trying to make the pass. It's gotten too deep. And the nose just completely pushed right into the wall for the 45 minutes. Now he's sliding back into the clutches of Gavin Rogers. So we'll see. Blaine Wilson's definitely got to be breathing a sigh of relief after that last lap, having that big moment. The 45 gets by you, then you just get right back by him. So You know, this is that point of the run, though, Robert. 23 laps in, we're halfway almost through now this first stage. This is where the car is going to start to handle its worst, and this is when I think you're going to start to see people start to struggle a little bit with how their car drives.
We'll have to see how they all handle it out here, Zach, and we'll, you know, in due time here, we'll see who can handle the car and who can't, or who burned off them tires and who didn't burn off them tires. But, you know, right now, it just looks we're, you know, just relaxed. Looks like the drivers, like you said, we're all spread out here through the whole field here. As long as we can keep the 7 and the 77 apart, hey, we're good the rest of the night.
Yeah, if those two get together, which they're usually magnets. They at some point, I think you might see the 7 and 77 be somewhat close on the racetrack. Right now, there's about 2 seconds separating the two, a little bit under actually 2 seconds. It looks like Coffee there a little bit into the wall in the middle of the corner. And, you know, I thought Coffee was saving a good little bit there to try to run up and, you know, run these guys down, which he has caught up to Adam Buzzio more, but still not making the headway I thought he possibly would. He's about 3.6 seconds behind our leader, Steven Stympian, who has opened a massive 1.5 second gap at the moment. Is Stympian, I know for a fact, this man loves this racetrack, so no surprise to see the 81 out front.
Most definitely, yeah. We know that this is a track that he really, really likes. He's been fast in all the other places that we've seen him race here. You know, as broadcasting-wise here, as Adams is going to let the 7 of Alex go by here. Interesting move here. So, obviously, I don't know if Alex got into the wall a little bit. Like you said, he's running that high line, and I'm just watching the way Adams is running this track right now, Zach, and it's so different. He's, you know, he's running it way up to the high and then coming down, and it's like he's trying to diamond it out and trying to save, I would imagine, try to save some tire wear on exit.
Yeah, that's possibly what he's fighting a little condition of, and I love the move he did there. You know, the 7 catches him. He says, you know what, you're faster. This is an old school track. Here's the old school move. Just let you go right on by. Not hold either of us up, as now he's going to get passed by the 18 here of Blaine Wilson. This will be a tricky situation here. Heading into one, will Buzzio fight him? It looks like he'll just let him go, but Rogers almost into the back of him there with the closing rate, and that's the tricky situation to play. Entering 1 and 2, you are so on the edge there of not even making the corner when you slide up towards that wall in the middle of the corner. When you're too wide, it makes it that much even harder, and it just checks everybody up. Gavin Rogers there doing a good job of getting woed up, because he could have been right in the back bumper of that 5.
Yeah, I just wonder what's going on with the 5 right now, though, Zach. He was looking really good, and then it looks like, but I don't know if he's having a problem, because he's really backing off.
He does seem to be struggling right now. You know, I go back to his first couple laps. He was kind of charging through, running some of the fastest times on the racetrack, and running, in my opinion, the line that really tears the tires up the worst. You can see right here, look at Rogers, a complete lane lower than him. Buzzio can't just keep his car on the bottom, and that's where you start to lose the grip, as you just can't keep it down there. And that's where I think the struggle for the 5's coming in. He's going to have to learn, and that's what you got to use these stages for. You know, you got stage 1 to learn. Stage 2, maybe implement a little bit of what other people are doing in your line, and it could turn out better for him, because right now it is a struggle as he's getting caught by the 45, who's going to look to the inside here down into 3 and 4, but going to think better of it this time.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing, too. You took the words out of my mouth. What I was just going to say, Zach. You know, you learn from your stage, okay? We're 20 laps, away from the first stage. So you learn what your car can do and not do. And also, these guys are in Discord with team chats. They got other drivers out there. And you can bounce ideas off and say, hey, don't run the high line. It's not good. Your tires are going to die off within 30 laps, and you're going to fall back through. So you can adjust on, how you approach the second stage, to get to lap 100 before that final stage here. So I wouldn't worry too much about him right now. Like you said, we got the next stage coming up here. We're going to have a yellow. Regroup yourself and, take it from there and be able to, try to save your tires, because I just believe this race here tonight, it's just going to come down to, as we see Richard Ford getting past here, going a lap down in that 56, I think it's all going to be about saving tires, Zach. And, if they keep it clean and green like this, unless they get a little crazy on a restart, I don't know. I think we're going to have a really fast race here, ladies and gentlemen.
It very well could go by quickly. I mean, the lap times were turning right in the 30-second to 29-second range each and every time. And if we go green, it can quickly get done. So you're going to have to make work here very fast. As you see Wolfsburg there in the background. He was letting those drivers go by, and that was a little bit of a scary moment for him as he's well off the pace there now, getting out of the way of Gavin Rogers, who been watching lap times. Steven Stippian is kind of in a world of his own right now when it comes to that lead up front. The only driver, even in my opinion, that's been close within hundreds of them is Gavin Rogers, who's about 5.5 seconds back after. And Rogers having to start back in 14th. This is a great rebound up for him for 6th. And even the guy we're looking at right now, I mean, he's had a quiet run. He's been 3rd pretty much since the start of this race after starting 4th. Dakota Camper doing a good job here and trying to maybe make a case for him to get into that next round. He came in here 21 points out. The big issue for him, the drivers that he's having to beat here, Robert, Steven Stippian, Alex Coffey, and Mason Haussman, all 3 of those drivers right around.
As we look at him, and I will fix that tower because I didn't realize he was in the playoffs. So I do apologize to Camper.
Simple mistakes sometimes, man. It's all it can take sometimes is right now Camper really looking very, very strong, as I believe right now he's going to be one to watch out for still. As I say that, he gets to the wall, so the commentary curse comes into play, as they say. So it is one of those things where
Zach. Way to go.
It happens so quickly for these drivers that you can't really keep up with it. So right now Camper still holding on to 3rd position, but it's just Steven Stippian right now out front all by himself, just driving away. I mean, he's opened up to a 3-second lead and just continues to put down some of the fastest lap times out there as we're quickly closing into that lap 50 stage, where those 10 bonus points for that stage winner, Steven Stippian, will be very, very valuable to him, who came in here with a good little gap to the bottom of that cut line. So it's been fun so far, and even in the daylight conditions like this, it's cool to see a Darlington race. A lot of times we see this track always under the night lights. Right here, it's under the daytime. Camper starting to struggle now as the 7 of Coffee is caught up to him. This is bad signs for the 43, and he's dropping back quickly to Blaine Wilson and Gavin Rogers. So the 43 not having the greatest of a finish to his stage right here. As it looks like off of 2, Wilson going to make the pass again. So it's just Camper dropping backwards here as he's looking to hold on to this position, but just cannot do it off of 4. And this is going to open up the door now for Gavin Rogers. So just continuous drivers going on through, and Camper going from the 3rd position, once praising him for that, now back to 6th. This is not what Camper wanted to see, and last time by a 31:38 for him. That is not a lap time that he is going to be looking to continue that trend of. His Manis is about 2.1 seconds back from him. Camper needs to hold on to these stage points. These will be super valuable in these next 11 laps to do that, as it is just showing you quickly Darlington can sneak up and just really take a bite out of anything you got going on. And right now he's dropping back, so tough break. But right there you see the 77 Rogers. He broke his way into the top 5 after starting 14th. What a drive for him.
Big time. What a great drive for Gavin Rogers right now. And to answer the question of what the stages are, the stages are going to be stage 1 is lap 50, and then stage 2 is going to be another 50 laps, which will bring you to lap 100. And then we finish out stage number 3, 75 laps, which will then equal your 175 laps. Pardon any green-white checkered. Hopefully we don't see any of that, but there could be extended some laps, added there too, Zach.
It's very possible. It's always in the books, as they say. It's there if needed. So we'll see if these drivers need it. But the first 42 laps here have just been clean and green so far. But the driver that, he doesn't have a care in the world right now. Is this 81 out front? And, doing great for his father on his birthday. This is just a clean drive from Steven Stippian, who's 2/10 faster than anybody on this racetrack.
Yeah, 42 laps into this run, and he's that fast yet, Zach. He might be inside that car eating ice cream and cake, too, for his dad. Who knows? Anyways,
At this
yeah.
point, serve it
But
up, right?
right, yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, but now how long does this last though? I mean, yeah, he pulled out to about a 5-second lead here. Like you said, 2/10 to a tenth faster than second place of the 78 there. Again, what did the 78? What did Coffee? What did Blaine Wilson? Galvin Roger moving up through from the back of the field all the way up to the fifth position. I'm sure them drivers there are like, okay, go ahead and get your stage points. And I got a funny feeling, stage number 2, I think it's gonna heat up a little bit more.
I'd have to agree, Robert. I mean, I think drivers are going to change up what they've done a little bit because they've seen. I mean, you let this 81 get out front, he's going to be tough to get around. He's just continuously opened up the gap and it's just continually growing. But the battle for second is raging on. Mason Hossman, he's got somebody right in his rear views. It's the 7 Alex Coffey who has slowly but methodically worked his way up. And right now, Hossman trying to hold on to this position. This could be valuable points for both of these drivers who are looking to point themselves in.
Well, yeah, we'll see how this all works out here as we're going to have Alex going to look down below here, Zach, coming out of 2. And it looks like he's going to be able to get that pass really clean and just sails on by Mason there to move himself up to second position. So, again, that helps him for the points. You get 9 points for a stage there, but, Mason is going to lose a point. But, again, you can make that point up by just flip-flopping on stage number 2. By finishing in front of him. So we'll see how that all plays out. But right now, Coffey does look pretty good, but he's still looking at these last laps. Steven Stempian ran a 30.39 to Alex's 30.87. That's not 2/10, Zach. That's a lot of tenths.
Yeah, that's a gap. That's for sure. Stempian is just looking lights out when it comes to his lap times. So we'll see what Alex Coffey can do in open track compared to Steven Stempian, but great pass nonetheless for him. But it's the battle for fourth that's even heating up now. Blaine Wilson, he's got his hands full. The 77 of Gavin Rogers looking to do what Alex Coffey did here and pass on the inside, but Blaine Wilson into the outside wall keeps the speed up as they race side by side down into 3. Rogers trying to continue his drive forward as they got Carl Puller here in the lap machine right behind them also. This is stacking these two up and giving a chance for even Camper to close in.
Oh, as we see, oh no, Carl Puller got into the wall, got that dirty air, and he's down in with lap 48. Do we stay green? It looks like we're going to.
Yeah, down off the racing surface. That's not going to bring out a yell. And Carl Puller's night has just gone from bad to worse. As it's not in the first stage, and he's had 2 major incidents here that will put him back, and he has the possibility of possibly going 2 laps down because Steven Stempian's already almost into 1, and he's in the middle of 1 and 2. So it just shows you how fast things can change. But Gavin Rogers tried to make that pass work, Robert. Just could not get it done. Now got to resettle here and try to work over Blaine Wilson.
Well, that's it. He's going to try to settle going down here into 1 and 2 to see if he can repounce back. But, where the hard places that he tried to pass Zach was going into 3 and 4. It's such a tight turn. Everything narrows into like a hallway. So when you're side by side, there's not a lot of give and take there. You got to make sure that car either stays high or stays low because you got a tendency of that car below you sliding up a little bit, and that's all it takes is that little nudge, and that could send you right up into the wall. So it's not recommended to try to pass unless you can outbrake somebody going into 3. Other than that, I wouldn't attempt it.
I completely agree with you. It's just so tough to do. It's so hard to stay side by side, and Rogers did the best he could but couldn't get it done. But there it is across the line. Steven Stempian is your stage 1 winner. What an excellent stage for him. I don't think he could have asked for a better run. I mean, it was a 5-second gap back to Coffey. Almost 6 seconds in that first stage. This is looking lights out for the 81. It's going to be a little different now. He's going to have that 7 of Coffey and that 77 of Rogers right behind him when it all kicks back off after the stage. But we'll see how pit road goes here, Robert, because after this, we'll get a little talk here with Steven Stempian about how his night has went so far.
Yeah, we'll see how his night's going so far. I'm sure he's going to be happy right now, just from what that first stage is there. So after this pit stop, we'll have a talk with him, and maybe we'll get him out of the car and send his car to the NASCAR impound because that car needs checked.
I need to check it for something
It's
for sure
something.
because it is
Yeah,
fast.
fast. Like I understand fast, but right now he's just fast. And we seen that last week, Zach. You know, with was it last week with Gavin Rogers? How he started in the back, a penalty down, and he just barreled his way through the field.
Yeah, Rogers last week was amazing. I mean, and what's crazy about him, he didn't get the lead till with under 10 to go. He was
Yeah.
so quick all night, just got in the track position late and let Steven Stimpian and kind of Alex Coffey burn their stuff up racing each other. And with this pit
Wow.
stop even, Alex Coffey's won the race off pit road. So looks like
Ooh.
Steven Stimpian a little slow in the box maybe, got him not the lead, but now we'll get to hear we'll get to hear what his thoughts are on losing the lead, but very quick. We'll see how fast he can get back up there. Let's hear a chat from our Stage 1 winner, Steven Stimpian. Hey, Steven, it's Zach and Robert up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got a copy, guys.
Well, excellent first stage, man. I mean, that was domination. Almost 6 seconds back to the second place car. You know, you lose the lead here under pit stops, but it's still got to feel good to get those 10 bonus points in that stage win. How do you feel about getting back to that front?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I know I got long run pace. I'm keeping the tires under me, so losing the lead, not a big deal here. We'll see what happens. We got a long way to go. My main goal is try and win this thing.
All right. Well, yeah, Stempian, it's Robert up here in the booth, man. Your car's looking really, really stout. What can you take away from stage 1 that you can apply to stage 2 to maybe like save the tires a little bit more, or what's your game plan for stage 2?
Honestly, looking at the tires, man, I'm pretty happy with the way they're there. Felt really good. Wasn't really getting loose. I just keep doing my thing and just keep running it. We'll see how dirty air affects me here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, Steven, it's been fun to watch so far, man. You've been so dominant. Hopefully you can get back to that lead and get back to where you feel you need to be, man. But best of luck to you, and hopefully we're talking to you later tonight.
I hope so, man. I'd like to give my dad a birthday present tonight, so we'll see.
That it is, Mr. Stimpian out there. Happy birthday to him, and we'll see what your son can do. Good luck, Steven.
Thanks.
All right, we sent him back up to his team there at Smoke Inc. with him and Cody Reed to get it all sorted out, Robert, but he feels confident. You can hear it in his voice. He wasn't even worried about losing that lead.
I just ready to say, I mean, you asked him that question, Zach, and he was like, yeah, your point is? I mean, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to say. I mean, he was so confident that he didn't even have an answer for you.
No, I mean, he's confident, right? Do you think
overconfident?
How easy do you think this pass? Yeah, exactly. Can you get overconfident, you think,
Yes.
Robert? Because this place is tough to pass, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. And hey, look, it's good to have the confidence, and I'm sure all these other drivers, Alex Coffey, Mason, all these, they got confidence. Again, like I said, Zach, we're getting ready to go back green. Let's see what these guys learn from the first half to the second half, basically. Stage 1 to stage 2. I'm sure these guys are going to be on top of him a lot longer than the first stage, but we'll see here in a second.
Don't doubt it one bit. I think this one's going to be a little bit more competitive than that first stage, but pace car is in. Alex Coffey with control of the field. What will he do with control? That's what we're going to get to see here as he leads us to that Geico restart zone where he'll be taken off in a way as Coffey with the great restart. Steven Stimpian with a good enough one that looks like he'll hold on to the second position. Is this going to be side by side? Mason Halsman, Blaine Wilson there battling for third. And you can see it already heating up there.
Yeah, and you can already see with Mason and Blaine there, they went a little harder than before, Zach, in the turn 1 and 2 there to try to keep up with Stempian. And Stempian's going to pull away here from them there, but you could just see the aggressiveness right off the start from that, them two there in the back as they get single file now. Now we're going to watch Stempian, first time in dirty air. Let's see what he can do with his vehicle and what he does to adjust to number 7 in front of him.
Completely agree. This is going to be a crucial moment of learning for that number 81 team here as they try to figure out what's different. I mean, he hadn't had to experience it yet with a car on even pace with him right directly ahead of him, and right now the door's opening up. Coffee there sliding up the racetrack just that little bit has opened the door for Stympian, but just not enough yet to dive to the inside as they stay single file for the moment, as most part of the field has. You know, this is going to get, I think, a little bit more mixy here, as they would say, during this next stage. So let's see what Steven Stympian has. And, you know, will Alex Coffey run the bottom here? Because it looks like Stympian able to just keep the car right on the bottom, while the 7 kind of drifts up here in the middle, Robert.
Yeah, I've been watching him here the past 2 laps here, and you're right. Alex Coffey is sliding a little bit, and he can't keep the car down there, especially in 3 and 4. 1 and 2, you're going to want the car to drift up like you just seen there into the center of the turn, and then you try to diamond it out. But again, look at that 81, even through 1 and 2, Zach. He's sliding up, but that car, he's getting so much better exit turn out, or however you want to say it. But just watching what he's doing, you could just see it, that 7 is not getting the exit like the 81.
Just not getting the exit he definitely needs to hold that position like he probably would want to. It's, you know, it's one of those situations that Darlington is, you know, it's so tough because you want to hold the driver back, but do you know, if you can't run that speed that you need to hold somebody off, it's almost better to just let them by sometimes and run your own race. But we know Alex Coffey, he's going to fight to the bitter end to try to hold this lead position, but I think it's going to be on here down in the 1. Stympian looked to the inside off of 4, just couldn't get that nose completely alongside to pull him back with the side draft, but it's just showing that 81's threatening lap after lap here to take this lead.
Well, that's the key there, Zach. If he can get right up behind him going into either 1 or 3 here as he's going into turn 3 and 4, if he can keep it, see, he even got them the left tires below that, you know, the dotted white lines there, and he's keeping it now. See, if he can get that side, he's just not getting that side. He needs to be just a little bit closer to get that side draft to pull that 7 back. It's either he's going to have to wait for Alex to burn up his tires, maybe make a mistake, or he's got to be really on top of him. As you can see, he got the great run coming off of turn 2, and he's going to look going underneath 3, and he should be able to clear it if Alex just lets him go, which it does look like Alex is going to do the smart thing right now, Zach, and just let that 81 go by. As, oh no, he tried to push it a little hard, exiting out of turn 4 there.
Looks like that rear end stepped out, and that's one of the things the drivers talked about. This nose can push on this car, and the rear end can step out, and he got close to the wall there in the 1. Steven Stympian, though, I mean, he was confident in that interview there after the stage win. I think the confidence just shone through right there, Robert. He made that pass look a lot easier than I ever expected it to be.
Oh, we'll have to see, as it looks like we got Rogers now here back here, Zach, running in 7th, up 7 positions right now. Right in front of him is going to be Camper there in that 45, bouncing back, got fresh tires, and having a great run. And you also got the 45 of Dallas. He's looking pretty good. You got Mason running in the top 4 right now. And Blaine, you know, past couple weeks, Blaine Wilson up 6 positions in that 18, starting to look pretty stout. And we found out, too, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that he now has a spotter, that Nigel actually is up on spotting for him now. And you see a difference in his driving style. For the past 2 weeks now, he's been up in the front runners now. Does that make a world of a difference, Zach, when you got somebody in your ear telling you what to do and not what to worry about?
I think for each person it's different. You know, I do think it's a ton of help, first of all, to have someone that can see everything going on. As you see Rogers back here looking to make a move, but just can't get it done. But when you can see everything going on, you have a much broader picture of things. And when you're in the car, you're very, you know, set on focus what's going on right around you. You can't really see what the other guys are doing. So it can help. And even some people just need that cheerleader of a coach just to say, hey, man, you got this. Just give you that confidence. That can make the world of a difference sometimes. It just matters the person. Some people can go out here all by themselves and it's just, you know, whatever for them. But I do think spotters can be a huge factor sometimes when it comes down to these things.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I see a difference in his driving style, Zach. And answer the question out there on YouTube chat, does Steven Stympian have to be in the top 3 to make the playoffs? I don't know. Zach, maybe you can look up them numbers. I think how far can he fall back if quote something would happen, which I don't see right now, as he's pulling way out in front of Alex right now.
Well, with that 10 bonus points he got in the first stage from winning the first stage, that propelled him pretty far ahead. He is well off, pretty much, let's say. I mean, back to Adam Buzzio, who was 5th in the points coming in here tonight. Steven Stippian 3rd. Steven Stippian had about a 20-point gap there. Adam Buzzio did not get the stage points like Steven Stippian did,
yeah,
so that gap
hurts.
grew even more. So, yes, Steven Stippian is in a very good position to move on, either finishing in the lead, I mean, that locks him in for sure, or finishing even farther back. I think Steven Stippian is looking very well off. The thing that concerns him probably more than anything is just getting through this next stage to get those bonus points, because that should help him in solidifying that 3rd position and not getting pushed down the 4th, to where if we do get a winner of Adam Buzzio, Reed, Dakota Camper, or Stephen Borbell, that would take out that 4th position driver, which would be Mason Hossman right now. So it kind of changes the complexion of that, but I think Steven Stippian is in a very good points position either way he looks for his run here tonight at Darlington. So we'll see how it plays out, but he's done a great job so far. And I tell you what, who also has done a great job, Robert, I appreciate you being in the booth with us. Also, saying happy birthday to Mr. Stippian with me here tonight, because that was a special thing, I think, for both of us. But it's time is we'll get you back to producing and focusing on that.
All right. Well, we got Collie now up here in the booth. Is going to be joining Zach. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the show here, and I wish the best of luck of your drivers. But off to you, gentlemen.
Well, Brandon, welcome here to the booth, my friend. Brandon Collie joining us now. And it looks like we're at Darlington here, man. You just came just in time. The race is just getting hot.
Yeah, thank you again, Robert, for being up here entertaining you guys in my absence while I was trying to make a speedy journey back home here to bring this race in action at Darlington to all you fans watching. And I was catching a little bit in the car ride on the way home. That gap Steven Stippian had at the end of stage 1, phenomenal. And he is right now chipping away at getting that gap back and running a pretty phenomenal race. But a lot of guys I saw having ups and downs, catching the wall, tire fall off. Pretty standard Darlington stuff, Zach.
It definitely has been pretty standard Darlington stuff so far. It's mostly racing the racetrack, and I think that's where maybe you can allude to that, Brandon. I mean, how tough is it to get sucked into a battle sometimes here at Darlington, and then those mistakes kind of pop up?
It's extremely easy. Because like you talked about earlier, it's very much you race the racetrack. The worst thing you want to have to do here at Darlington is have to pass somebody, because there's just so little room to do so. And you get a little bit of pressure from behind. You know that if you can defend for a little while, the dirty air is going to cause a bit of tire wear, and you're going to have a better chance to hold this position. But in doing so, it's so easy to overstep that boundary of being right on the edge, especially going in through turns 1 and 2, where you sweep so far up to the wall, and maybe you try to get back to the gas just a little bit too early to get that run, to not let them get to your inside in 3 and 4, and you catch the wall out of turn 2, and then that pass is given up for free. You just have to be so patient at this racetrack, and that's why I love it so much.
Completely agree with you. This track just really brings out those driver tendencies that show patience and smoothness and just all those little attributes that you got to have to be fast at other tracks is more amplified, in my opinion, just here at this 1.36 mile circuit here in Darlington, South Carolina. As you can see right ahead of this, Blaine Wilson taking the 2nd position as we ride on board over here with Gavin Rogers, who has done an excellent job to work his way up from 14th to 4th here. Looks like Alex Coffey starting to struggle a little bit here in the 7 machine after having the lead after his pit stops. Getting that first glimpse of the pace that these guys have ran on this start of the run. Looks like that 7 just struggling to hang on to that machine, as it looks like Gavin Rogers starting to close up to him, as we get to see these drivers really working hard here. As it's Gavin Rogers there, you get to see in the left side, and Steven Stippian on that right there, as 2 drivers that are really fast right now working their way through this field.
Gavin Rogers, you can see him sawing on the wheel there through turns 3 and 4. And it's not especially loose. I mean, you can make it loose depending on how you drive it, but it's just those little corrections just to make sure you've got the grip for the exit, so you know when you put the throttle down, you're not going to catch the wall unexpectedly. It's just those small little things, and you can see the differences between him and Steven Stippian. And that's one of the most fascinating things, that I'm glad we have these cameras here. You just kind of see the different styles between the drivers.
It definitely seems that way. You can see it looks like Rogers, he definitely works that wheel more. I think Rogers' style, he keeps it on the edge of the grip level much closer, and that's where he's got to work that wheel back and forth to keep it on that fine edge. As you're going to get to see here a good shot, as he's going to go side by side almost with Alex Coffey. Coffey holds on for now off of 2, but we've seen a few times already. These guys will get very racy throughout the season. This 2 has been the biggest rivalry we've had pretty much in this league. This is where things could get a little spicy for this 3rd position, Brandon.
Ooh, and both of them getting a little bit loose out of turn 4 here. That's going to take away any chance of a run into 1 that Rogers had. And right here, oh no, we got a caution on the racetrack.
That we do. Caution on the speedway, and it's Wolsifer here in the 56. He's going around with Johnny Shade in the 47. So, man, oh man, something has transpired here off of turn 4 with these 2 racing to bring out our 2nd yellow of the night. First one for an incident. And man, this is shook things up. The strategy is going to be what is really going to be interesting about all this, how it plays out. But we're going to get that instant replay queued up. But Brandon here, this is kind of thrown a wrench right into the middle of this stage. We'll see what these drivers make decision-wise as we get this replay queued.
Yeah, absolutely. The forefront of everybody's mind is, we only have, after this caution flag is ended, less than 20-something laps until the stage, and you'll see here, we saw it with the 7 and the 77 coming out of turn 3 and 4, just that little bit of loose sensation, and Wolsifer here on the outside of Shade just a little bit loose, and unfortunately looks like he's going to collect the 47.
That it is, side by side, the 47 trying to go by, but Wolsifer here working that outer groove. You're going to see here, very last second rear end step out. That's when that car gets light as you transition out of the banking, and just clip the 47 there, bringing out a yellow flag there. Unfortunate break for Johnny Shea, just innocent bystander trying to make a pass with a simple mistake right that from Wolsifer. Is we've had some strategy even play out while we've been showing this replay, so it's going to be fun to see how that all shakes out. But this caution right here has changed the landscape of how this race could play out. So man, oh man, this is a little surprising because so far we've been very clean so far. We've had a few incidents that weren't a yellow bringing out, so it's a little bit of a different shakeup here. But we did have some people pit here, Brandon. Looks like Blaine Wilson, Jimmy Kubinek, Johnny Shade, and Richard Wolsifer all going to be on pit road here to get service done. Is majority of the field staying out, and I kind of like that call in my opinion. With the 4 extra set of tires here you have tonight, you want to have as many sets as possible for that last 75 laps, I believe.
I agree with you completely. If you're in a position that, you maybe don't feel like you can win this race, I mean, Steven Stippian has been so strong throughout tonight that you just don't feel like maybe you have a shot and you're trying to bank on as many points as possible. I could see taking tires here and try to make that late run towards the end of the stage to get as many as possible. But like you said, I agree with staying out here. I thought initially there was a lot more cars that had stayed out. But it looks like Wilson's going to cycle now to 10th place. So being inside the top 10 with fresh tires, he's going to have a legitimate shot here with the amount of laps we have left to possibly contend for this stage win.
I think that's going to be the most fun part about this is watching what the new tires do. I mean, 29 laps here on Steven Stippian, Alex Coffey, Rogers, Halsman, Manis, Buzzio, Camper, Reed, and Plord in the first 9 positions. Then you have Blaine Wilson on that brand new set of fresh tires. What will he be able to do? That's going to be the question. Now, how fast can he make his way through it? I mean, this track, yes, you can have, in my opinion, that tire advantage, but how fast will he be able to make passes, I think, will be the biggest question here. So, these are tough decisions to be made, Brandon, but for Wilson, someone not in the playoffs, I think this is kind of a no-brainer just to go out there and see, what he can do with the new tires.
Absolutely, Zach. And like you talked about, you've got the fresh rubber, but here more than anywhere else with fresh tires, you have got to be incredibly smart with what you do with them. Because everybody's side by side on the restart here. You're probably going to get boxed in. You don't need to make a rash decision and shoot it 3 wide. That patience has to show. You will get around them. You just have to let them sort themselves out and not put yourself in a bad position.
That's going to be the key. Cannot take too many blatant risks and put yourself in a bad jeopardy position, because quickly things can go wrong here at the Darlington Raceway. Is one of those tracks that just bites you before you know it. Is we're getting double filed up. Steven Stippian going to have the lead. Alex Coffey second. Mason Halsman's going to be fourth. Gavin Rogers there in the third position. This is a stacked group here up front, and right now poised to be what looks like our final four. If the race was to be called at the moment, this would be your final four heading into Kansas, and four competitive drivers who I think are going to put on a show here when we go back to restart.
You know, Zach, we've seen Steven Stimpion's pace throughout this entire race. The one that I'm most impressed with, the 78 of Mason Halsman. He said last week he had to buy the track to even run this race tonight, and he's up here running in the top 5, and he was running second for a long time. He's had a great run going here. I'm very impressed.
It is super impressive. I love that you brought that fact up, because that was in the back of my mind also. That 78 first time here at this racetrack, and making it look like it's not for sure, as we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. It's Steven Stipien leading the way here, 82 laps in the books, and green flag is back out, and we're off and away here for the Sundance Pizza 175 as Steven Stipien. Excellent restart, and an excellent restart from the outside lane as Gavin Rogers got beat by his teammate Halsman.
Yeah, great start from the front three. That's ideally what you want, and then you see the top 5 getting single filed out here. Is a little bit of contact further back in the field with the wall, but guys starting to finally get single filed, but it looks like we might have had 3 wide towards the back.
3 wide, almost back farther through the field. It looks like Ford, Camper, Wolsifer, multiple different drivers all stacking up there, coming off of 4 for around the 12th, 13th positions. Just showing they're willing to fight back there, because they know stage points are right in the grasp of them, a couple positions ahead, and even a few of them on fresher tires. And the first person on fresh tires, Blaine Wilson, up to 6 already. We'll see, can the 18 drive himself up there to get a stage victory?
Well, he's got 16 laps to do it, and he's made up a significant amount of positions in just 2 laps. And the closing rate down the front stretch through the corners here, if he can make quick work of these guys, he should be able to get to the lead here to snatch this stage victory.
I mean, you know, the most amazing thing, it always blows my mind when we watch this, is he's going to the outside of Buzzio here to make the pass for the top 5. Steven Stipien out front. Oh no, Buzzio slides up into the 18. That was almost a wreck. Somehow Wilson holds on to it. That could have been dire situations for both of those drivers. And man, oh man, somehow he holds on to it. But you know, looking at lap times, Steven Stipien ran his fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago after this restart on 30-lap-old tires. I mean, these tires never cease to amaze me, as Carl Pooler and Richard Wolsifer, the 2 teammates from Limitless, getting to each other farther back in that group, and that's going to stack things up.
And Plord shot the middle there, got some freebies out of it. But yeah, teammates duking it out here. Don't want to see them get wadded up, as Wolsifer looks to be on the fresher tires trying to get around Pooler. Able to sort that out now as they're making their way forward.
Camper going to get by Pooler here, is now shady and go look, as this group has been wild back here. Is up ahead of them. They're wrecking Kubanek and I believe Borbell both involved in this. Borbell a playoff contender. Not what the 2 wanted to see, as they came to blows off of turn number 2. And that's going to bring out our 3rd yellow and getting us closer to the end of that stage, but not going to be done just yet, as you can see Borbell there with a good significant bit of right side damage along with the 8. But Brandon, this is just, you know, simple contact here at Darlington that leads to, you know, extracurriculars when they come off of turn 2, because it just tightens up so quickly. And I think when we see this replay here, it's just going to be an inevitable situation with how hard they are racing each other.
Yeah, Zach, and I saw this one coming from a little ways away, just watching Wolsifer after that incident, seeing those guys. You see them right here, side by side through 1 and 2. Not out of the ordinary, but it's how close they are from the center to the exit of the corner. I mean, they're almost scraping the door panels off of these cars. And I switched to it just as the contact happened. You see it right here. It's as close as you could possibly get through turns 1 and 2 here at Darlington.
I mean, it is literally, like you said, close as possible, and they're leaning on each other. Here's the 2. The 8 kind of comes down a little bit into the 2 from that view. It's hard to say a lot of times from the certain views you get of how these incidents play out. It can look like either way, but a 2 now getting clipped by the 8 there, and that's just unfortunate between those 2 coming together as the Ohio State machine head first into the wall. And Borbell for his playoff contention. Not liking how that's had to play out for sure, because this is going to hurt his chances for some stage points here at lap 100.
And I was looking through some of the paint schemes. I heard you guys talking about the throwbacks, and saw that Ohio State machine from Borbell, and big Ohio State fan, so I would love to see that out on track as well. But unfortunately, it's got some damage now, so that's kind of a muddy in the waters for him.
Definitely got beat up a little bit here from that last incident, but I'm sure that 2 machine will get it all fixed up and back out there. And for his sake, I hope he still has a fast repair. It does look like he has a fast repair still in the bag, so if anything is bad happens to the 2 later, he can come back from that. But looks like Jimmy Kubanek, he's used the fast repair. Cody Reed has used the fast repair, and it looks like Richard Wolsifer has used a fast repair. So interesting circumstance so far, 90 laps into this event, but right now it looks like Steven Stippian in a prime position to hold on for the stage victory. I mean, this caution somewhat, in my opinion, helps these older tires hold on even better, in my opinion, Brandon.
Well, I think you're exactly right. The cooldown period here, where these guys are just pacing around, that really evens out the difference with Blaine Wilson. Now, Blaine Wilson's going to be in 5th on this restart here. Got the inside lane. He's going to have options for moves, and we're going to have to see what he can do with it. But it's definitely not going to be easy. I mean, we saw the guys at the front that were turning some of their quickest laps of the race on these older tires. So they definitely still have some life left in them.
That they do, and the cooldown phase is going to bring that right back into factor. So can Steven Stippian go out here and get this, second stage win? And I hate bringing this up, because it always seems to jinx it when you bring something up like this. But the closer he gets to the stage victory, the closer he nears towards his first Freaky Fast Grand Slam, sitting on pole position, winning stage 1. If he wins stage 2 here, all he has to do after that to complete it is get the final thing on the stat list, and that's the victory of the race. And with the speed he's had so far tonight, I'd say he's a pretty good betting odd for getting that victory.
Well, not only the victory, but that Freaky Fast Grand Slam on his father's birthday. Happy birthday to Stimp Sr., since I haven't said it yet. That would be nice, but you just jinked it, Zach. He's definitely getting wrecked at some point during this race now. I'm so sorry, Stimp.
Well, Steven, if you come back and watch this, my friend, and you hear the jinx, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. So it was definitely on the books, but we'll see how it plays out. It's still going to be tough. He's got tough competitors to beat, but we'll see, can he pull it off here. Is double file down the back straightaway. Alex Coffey alongside him. This is going to be fun to see. Blaine Wilson, that first car on new tires, back in 5th, 3rd car on that bottom lane. I'm sure he's going to be here to mix things up as they come through 3 and 4. And they'll get ready to come to that Geico restart zone. It's been the Sundance Pizza 175 here from the Darlington Raceway. Penultimate race of the Season 2 here for the Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series. And we're getting ready to close out stage number 2 here at lap 100 in the Geico restart zone. Steven Stippian's off and away as he takes the lead down into 1. It's going to be Hausman, though, side by side with Alex Coffey here in the 1 and 2.
And I believe Coffey's got a decent shot at holding on to that second position. We'll see what kind of run he's able to get out of turn 2. As they make contact, he turns him into the wall. Oh, Blaine Wilson collected.
Big wreck here off the back straightaway. Multiple drivers involved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars involved in this one. It just keeps stacking up as there's major damage all throughout the field. Wolsifer in the 56, his night's could be over. He's got a required damage flag. Mason Halsman, the 78, came in here on the cut line. He's got a required damage flag. This is crazy here as those two came to blows off of turn 2, Brandon, and it's a little bit of contact between those two that caused this, and just some hard racing going on here for the second stage for drivers who have a lot on the line.
100%. It's just trying to get stage points here, and as much as you can. And I can't really fault Coffey for trying to stick his nose to the outside there on the corner exit, trying to get those points. He saw a gap and he tried to carry the run, but it's really similar to the previous incident that we saw, just that little bit of contact on the exit of turn 2 where it gets so tight on the exit. Then there was a parking lot.
It was definitely a parking lot, as they would say, and I think the big thing too, caught up in this, when we see it, it will be Blaine Wilson that in those new tires is not going to be able to try anything here. So this is definitely shook things up, I would say, as the battle for second heated up and quickly came to blows, as you get to see there the shot as, man, heavy collision with those two. It right there happened off of 2 as the 7 cut down the track. I don't know if the 78 came up a little bit or the 7 came down more. Kind of seemed like both drivers going for the same real estate, and that 77 7 collects the right rear of the 78, putting him headfirst in the wall. And from there, I mean, it is just a log jam of drivers trying to make it through. Wolsifer, Man is there's the Plord in the 33. The 78 Halsman gets hit again, and then Cody Reed gets collected. I mean, it was a never-ending wreck there down the Boeing back straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of contact after the fact that stacked up even more cars, just guys trying to find a lane to go through. And yeah, there was a little bit of ARCA brake through there for some people. Some guys just trying to check up with the rear. You see the contact here just a little bit maybe on the 7 coming down into the right rear. More so, I think, than the 78 coming up, Zach.
Yeah, that look at it right there, Brandon, that view, I definitely got to put a little bit more blame on that 7 for sure. I mean, he's being aggressive, trying to come down and, give as little room as possible because how close that wall is on exit. You got to make sure you're down there. So that right there, just a little bit too much, gets into that right rear. And, I mean, for the 7, I mean, it doesn't help him any being involved in that. If he'd have finished 3rd in the stage, that would have been valuable points for him. Now 13th. And very damaged for that 7 machine. And even Halsman in the 78, he's still sitting on pit road. I think he had the tow, so he's going a lap down. This is opening up the door for drivers like Adam Buzzio, who's up to 3rd here now, in position to get some better stage points and push himself up closer to getting to that final 4. So Mason Halsman, you gotta think that he is steaming under the ears right now.
I mean, well, welcome to Darlington, Hausman. That's a very standard Darlington incident there, and man, it's unfortunate. First off, you'd hate to have that happen, but it's just a very keynote kind of incident that you would show somebody of, hey, what's it like to race at Darlington? At this track, there's just so little room to be side by side, especially on the exit of turn 2. And you talk about guys that are going to take advantage of this to get some extra stage points in Adam Buzzio. Gavin Rogers barely managed to get through that here. Granted, he's locked in to next week, but this could have been his race over.
It could have been his race over. I mean, luckily these guys do have one fast spare, but still, I mean, look at Halsman. He had to tow to pit road. If you have to tow, you lose multiple laps. I mean, Halsman's still sitting there 2 laps down. It is it's one of those situations where you can't, it's going to be tough to dig himself out of that, because we know we get a stage break here at 100, but we don't have any other guaranteed yellows to possibly get laps back. So very interesting to see how this all plays out. But can Gavin Rogers stop the freaky fast Grand Slam of the 81 of Steven Stippian? We know how fast the 77's been so far. He's been very, very quick. I mean, up from 14th up to 2nd, but Steven Stippian so far the dominator of the race for this evening. The Sundance Pizza 175 gets ready to get closer to stage 2 ending here as Barney the flagman has the green flag in his hand. He waits for the Geico restart zone, and Steven Stippian, great start for him, is able to pull a gap as now it's going to be Adam Buzzio. Can he go and grab himself some more points, or does he solidify 3rd? Because I think 3rd will be just good enough.
Well, Blaine Wilson ended up restarting in the 4th position, got around Shade here. He's still got a shot for some good points, but Shade just out of shape. Looks like he's able to hang on to that machine.
Wow, Shade, big moment there in 2 for sure, Brandon. That was lucky to hold on to that machine for sure. But right now, Steven Stippian, he's got to be focusing because he's got the 77 Gavin Rogers defending series champion and the driver locked in to next week's Final 4 right behind him.
And we're going to have to see what Gavin Rogers can do. Last time by, they ran pretty similar lap times, only a couple thousand separating the two, or a couple hundreds, excuse me, separating the two of them, but a little bit of a weave out of Gavin Rogers out of turn 2 last time by. And Adam Buzzio just trying to hold station with Blaine Wilson here, trying to get all that they can for this stage.
Blaine Wilson up to 3rd position after that contact and that damage, so good job of him hanging on to that position. But Steven Stippian here, you can see up ahead of Gavin Rogers, who we're riding on board with, looking very, very stout so far. Off of 2, has the gap he wants to see, because next time by will be the white flag for the stage.
Rogers looking to set up a bit of a run, taking the outside. That late apex out of turn 4. No bobble, solid run. 1 lap to go for this stage here. Steven Stippian in the catbird seat.
In the catbird seat and looking to get stage victory number 2 here tonight. And Steven Stippian through 1 and 2. So far, clean's got a couple car length gap back to Gavin Rogers, and looks to be clean through 3 and 4. For the final time in stage number 2, Steven Stippian looking to pull off the freaky fast Grand Slam. Check off the pole, check off the stage, check off stage 2. Steven Stippian's your stage 2 winner here tonight at the Sundance Pizza 175 for the Wicked Racing League. And that brings the end of stage number 2 with Gavin Rogers 2nd, Blaine Wilson 3rd, Adam Buzzio 4th. 5th goes to Jimmy Kubinek. 6th is Cody Reed. 7th goes to Stephen Borbell. 8th, Jamie Plord. 9th, Dallas Madison. Alex Coffey getting back for that 1 single bonus point in the 10th position for stage number 2. As these drivers look to bring it to pit road, we're going to go ahead and step aside for our commercial break for tonight's race. It's been a pleasure so far to call the race. It has been excellent between all these drivers out here battling for whatever they have on the line here for the playoffs. Don't miss a thing as we go side by side, and we'll be back in the next few moments to finish out tonight's race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back here, folks, to the Wicked Racing League here on Freaky Fast, broadcasting for the Buttkicker Cup Series for the Sundance Pizza 175 here for the penultimate race of season number 2 to decide our final 4 contenders to fight at Kansas. And right now, it's been switched up big time. We got Stephen Borbell leading us to green, Dakota Camper in this first row with them, as these two elected to stay out here this last time by. And green flag is in the air. Borbell is off and away, and this has shook things up.
And he's off and away by a good margin. The rest of the field stacked up behind him. Nobody able to get single file now. As you see, Gavin Rogers on the outside finally going to be able to get solidified in that second position, as Steven Stimpian just behind them making some moves around Jamie Plord to try to get back to the front after dropping one position to Gavin Rogers on the pit road. Ooh, was a little bit of contact between him and Ford. Stimp is, I think he's got rattled by this pit road mistake, Zach.
It's possible, man. I tell you, he lost the lead there last time to Alex Coffey off of pit road. Did it this time also to Gavin Rogers, but this time it's a little different. He's got different strategies up ahead of him. And the driver that pit with him, Rogers, is up there in second position. So this is not what Stimpy wants to see. Is you got Alex Coffey here trying to make his pass on Kubanek, but you also got Reed, Pooler, the 45 of Manis. This is a stack up here from the 8th position on back.
Yeah, Cody Reed here trying to find a way around these two in front of him, but again, you just kind of get boxed in, nowhere really to go. You just got to wait until they get single file, and now Cody Reed's able to attack the 8, trying to set something up here out of turn 2.
Reed trying to make a rebound after a tough first stage. Right now, in position to try to pass this 8 machine and move himself forward, but it is very tough to do. We've seen it so far tonight. Side-by-side racing can produce some great moments and also some terrible moments for drivers, because they get major damage in this next-gen car from this newest damage model. As now Reed to the inside here, just not enough room to get it done. As you see Camper up here, he's actually starting to fight the 18. So right here, our top 5 breaking away a little bit, Brandon.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap here, and when you get guys that are side-by-side, you get slowed down so much here. That gaggle of cars behind these guys finally getting sorted out, and you can see the result of all that battling as the top 5 have kind of separated themselves from the field. But like we talked about before, a mix of strategy here. You've got the 2 leading the race right now, and Dakota Camper in the 43, both last pit on 94 and 93. Good news, though, those caution laps, and especially if they pace themselves for that last little jaunt to the end of our stage here, these tires are as good as new.
And I think another thing that's happening is this track is starting to cool down a little bit. As the days went on, it's got later into the daytime. Right now, for the sim, we would be 5:50 p.m. around this racetrack, and you know, still a good bits away from getting into the lights. I don't think we'll get that far into the nighttime here, but that track will cool down. It will change. And right now, lap times that have been turned in the last really 5 to 10 laps have been the fastest ones on the racetrack. I mean, you got Stephen Borbell with one of the fastest times of the race so far, and even Blaine Wilson at 29.038 for him. I mean, that would have put him on pole position by 0.2 of a second. So this shows you the speed this track is picking up right now.
100%. The cooler track temp, these guys are able to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more grip, but you're even more on the edge, which can lead to even more mistakes here at a very difficult racetrack.
This track's so tough, and I mean, that's why they call it the track too tough to tame. Is riding on Boral Wilson, you can see the top 2 up ahead of him do have a little bit of a slight gap opened up, but I love this shot because look at this rear view mirror. It is full of a 43, a Camper who, again, on an older set of tires, really trying to make this stuff work very well and doing a good job so far, as he still has Steven Stimpian in 81, our stage 1 and 2 winner, right behind him.
Not for very much longer, it looks like. Stimpian just got a major run. He's going to give a little shot to the 43 down the straightaway here. It's really when you're trying to set up a pass on a guy, you just constantly apply pressure without pushing too hard. And we saw it the last time by into turn 3. The 18 of Blaine Wilson just a little bit hotter into the corner, but now Camper absolutely sailing it to the inside of the 18, using the apron to make that thing turn.
Wow. Dakota Camper, I mean, we saw him in the first stage. He was fast, but he did fall off a ton as the stage went on. And that condition could come right back into play as Steven Stippy looked to the inside of him, but Camper able to hold on as those two had to kind of back it down not to get into each other. And right now, caution out on the speedway. Looks like Alex Coffey in the 7. He has gone around as he's had contact from the 8 of Jimmy Kubanek. So the 7, his night is not going well so far after being involved in this one. And that one gives him the meatball flag, which means required damage. And guess what, folks? He's used his fast repair. This 7 is going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, this is exactly what you did not want to see if you were Alex Coffey, just getting stuck in the back after being caught up in some incidents and having to get cycled back there. You just try to make your way through as calmly as you can, as patiently as you can, and just hope that guys ahead of you don't cause something you get collected in, or somebody makes a move and just kind of tags you a little bit here. And you'll see it here on the replay. The 8 of Kubanek, a very common mistake. You have to cut turn 1 just a little bit, but he gets way down there on the flat. That's going to push him up the racetrack here. And unfortunately, Coffey just not anticipating that at all, not higher on the racetrack, and nothing really that he could do, no fault of his own. And then just the snap overcorrect that we see so common with these next-gen cars.
It's so easy to do. And yeah, Kubanek there with a very, very aggressive move, I must say. I mean, I understand looking to go for the move, but when you're at a playoff driver right there in front of you, that's a situation that I think the 7 camp is not going to be happy with that 8 machine. But like they say, that's how racing is. But we've had some split decisions here being made. Our top 5 all stay out. And right now, Alex, it looks like others all coming down here to pit road. So this is going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out once we get back going green. But man, this is put the situation to a perspective here, Brandon, because 75 laps to the end of this race it was from that stage break with 80% fuel load. I felt like these guys were going to be pretty close on fuel. This caution might help those causes for the guys that stayed out, but the drivers that just pitted, I think they could be good on fuel all the way to the end of this race.
Yeah, very split decision here, and if this goes green, 100%, I think somebody like Gavin Rogers that has come into pit road here, they're in the perfect spot. Now, if we go another 20 laps or so and we get another caution, I think that's probably the worst thing for them, because they're, I believe, only going to have the 1 set of tires left in pit road, and you're going to have to weigh the options of, do I take these now or do I wait until maybe we get a caution within 15 to go, slap them on so that I'm not just dropping positions to guys that still have that extra set.
Very interesting times right now here on the racing surface as we're seeing the drivers pace around here. While we're pacing here, we can bring down a driver. Let's bring down a driver who's had a tough time here tonight and is right now in a position to maybe move himself forward, and that's Cody Reed in the 25. Hey, Cody, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, buddy, how's it going out there, man? We know Darlington's tough to tame, but it seems like some strategy here has put you up into the top 4.
Yeah. It's been not a great race for me. I started out driving on ice, and it was probably the worst experience I've ever had on iRacing. I was like trying to spin out every corner, basically. Sometimes I would get randomly tight. It was just the whole first stage was like a nightmare for me. But then the second stage, Steven gave me some tips over the radio, and it got a little bit better during that one. And then there was that big wreck at the end. I got involved. I got kind of like clobbered against the wall pretty bad. Only got like 40 seconds of damage, so I got super lucky with that. And honestly, I probably would have pit here, but Steven didn't want to. And honestly, I'll follow what he says because he's really good here. Yeah, that's it. I'm ready to go.
Well, Cody, I tell you what, buddy, we're getting double file back up here. Best of luck to you, and hopefully it plays out well, and we'll see you in that Final 4.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that was Cody Reed there from Smoke Inc. with Steven Stippy and the 2 teammates there talking and just deciphering how to get around this 1.36-mile racetrack here at the Darlington, South Carolina Raceway. We'll see how it works out. Strategy has popped up now. plenty of things are on the line, and let's see who can make the most of it. Right now, Borbell, your leader of this race. Blaine Wilson second. Steven Stipien third. Cody Reed fourth, as that's your top 4 positions. As they're in the Geico restart zone, we're back to green flag racing as Borbell is off with a great start, and that bottom lane with a good one too is Wilson and Stipien both clear Reed.
Yeah, Stipien is not wasting any time here, all over the back bumper of Blaine Wilson, giving him a shot to get single filed out here now with a giga run out of turn 2, looking to the inside into turn 3. He's going to be there pretty solidly. We're going to see what kind of run Blaine Wilson's able to generate off the top, but it doesn't look like he's got much of a fight for that 81 who's been so strong all night.
That 81 fighting hard. Here's the 18 and him side by side heading down the 1-2. This is where it gets tight though. So tough to stay side by side through the corner here. And Wilson going to be able to clear just because Stipien not willing to risk driving as hard as he possibly could, knowing what was on the line. And that is a tough position to be in, Brandon, because you feel like you can get by someone and you're faster. But when you go down to 1 and 2, you cannot risk some of those moments like that.
In my experience here racing in Darlington, and I feel like I've been pretty successful at this racetrack, I kind of take the approach that Stipien did there. You don't really want to be side by side with somebody through 1 and 2 if you can help it. You really just use turns 1 and 2 as a way to set up the pass 4, 3, and 4. Just because you have to get on the brakes so hard. If you can generate a run and just get there, a lot of times that will open up the door for you to make that pass.
That it really can. And you know, we're looking at the guy here, Adam Buzzio, 5th position right now. He's in a prime position here, folks. I love this. He's the first car on the brand new set of tires, leading the way for that group, as you got him, Carl Pooler, and Gavin Rogers all stacked up here with a new set of Goodyear tires on all of these cars. And with that, Buzzio, you know, gaining positions like this over Mason Halsman and Alex Coffey, he is gaining points, and that could possibly propel this 5 into that final 4 position. That would be huge for Adam Buzzio, who, like we said coming into tonight, they got the hashtag forever third for him. Well, he wants to be forever 4th to get himself into that final 4 tonight, because that's what it all comes down to have a shot at Kansas next week.
And he's doing a really good job. Being the lead car with those fresh tires is the ideal spot to be in, especially if this thing goes green and plays into their strategy where they're going to have the fuel to make it to the end, where the guys ahead of them are going to have to pit more than likely. I don't see them saving as much as they're probably going to need to. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know you're going to need to save a good bit here. And the pace these guys are running up front, they're not saving at all right now.
That they are not. It's definitely no saving going on. Steven Stipien has, while we were looking back there farther, gotten by the 18 of Wilson. As you can see now, Rogers on the back straightaway. He's looking to the inside of Carl Pooler. So Gavin Rogers looking to drive his way through on those fresher tires, as now he'll be the 2nd car on the fresh set, up to the 6th position for Rogers. As you're seeing Wilson, he's getting a little pressure from Cody Reed here in the 25.
Now, Cody Reed, whatever he was told by Steven Stipien, he is put into good use here. He's able to hang on to this group pretty well. Steven Stipien still turning really the fastest laps on the racetrack right now. But Reed's still applying pressure to Blaine Wilson, and that's really all you need to do. Just kind of ride there. Let him know, hey, I'm not going anywhere, and look for that mistake that'll allow you to have an easy pass.
Great job so far from the 25 here in this final part of this race. He may be in a must-win position with the stage finishes for him, not the most points compiled. Cody Reed may be looking to have to win this race if he wants to get himself in that final 4 collective heading into Kansas next week. We'll see how that works out for him, but at the moment, right now, Steven Stipien, he is starting to put the pressure on. Steven Borbell has done an excellent job. I'm going to say he's on 31-lap old tires compared to Steven Stipien's 25 laps. So right there, a 7-lap difference between these two. Borbell, though, ever since he's gotten the lead, has held on to it. Steven Stipien knows, though, he has fresh tires back from 5th on back. He needs to get this lead and try to build a gap if he wants any chance of holding these guys back.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job, too. I feel like he's probably a decent bit faster than Borbell right here, but he's being extremely patient. Knowing that he's going to get there, he doesn't need to get there immediately.
And that's the key, you know. That's so easy to do here at Darlington, in my opinion. It's one thing, Brandon, to run out front, but running in this dirty air wake here, it's so tough to not overdo it and really overwork your tires. So what do you feel like his keys are right here to make sure he makes this pass without using up his stuff, so to say?
Just be easier into the corners. Just save that right front as much as possible, because the longer this run goes on, that advantage of a better right front tire is just exponential. And I think that's been a lot of what we've seen, the reason for Steven Stimpian's success, especially at stage 1, where the track was less rubbered in and guys were really burning up their stuff, and he was able to pull out a massive gap here.
Seeing him, he's getting closer to the back of this too, as Borbell is having to look in the mirror for sure a lot as Stimpian closes in there off of turn 4. Just not close enough, though. That's going to be the big factor for him. Just not close enough. Is back in the background. It's Gavin Rogers making the pass on Adam Buzzio. So the 77 there, he's up to the 5th position now, first car on new tires, and I think that's got to be the biggest fear for the 81 is a driver like Gavin Rogers going up here. But now the battle for the lead's on. Steven Stimpian to the lead.
Well, he sent it in there, but Borbell gave it to him anyway, as you see him wash way up the track here. That was a slide job and a half if I've ever seen one.
Borbell, no contact even with the wall there, so tough break for him. But now it's going to be Blaine Wilson, Cody Reed. They're going to have to be looking back to the driver behind them, a Gavin Rogers, to see how long can they hold back the fresher tires here. I mean, right now the old tires have hang on very well. But as the heat cycles continue on, I think it'll get worse. As now Reed, using the lessons learned from Stimpian, just driving past the 18. Is now the 18 going to pull over the good old crossover move? But will it work off of 4?
Whoa. That was extremely close. Reed, so much wheel into it. Keep it out of the wall. It gets really tight in turn 4. Oh, now it's way up into the wall. Oh, just a little bit too hot.
And that's dangerous, because if he broke a toe link, that car's not going to turn as those two make contact. Somehow they've stuck together, but they make it through, and Rogers able to go to the outside as Wilson just used up right there as Reed again into the wall. Reed is just using his car up here, Brandon.
Not advised, especially here at Darlington with this newer damage model, and that has opened up the door for Gavin Rogers. Again, Reed just too hot into the corner. You got to settle down, buddy.
Oh no, this has gone from terrible to completely a downfall for this 25 machine. It is so tough. I mean, you could possibly allude to it a little bit, Brandon, but going on the outside groove into 1, I mean, it's a terrifying fright, or a terrifying sight.
It is extremely nerve-wracking. A lot of times, if you're in that position, especially if you're not like within the last 15 laps of the race, you're just lifting to let the guy have it. Because it gets so tight and the cars all wash up on the entry. You're trying to give as much room as you feel the guy needs, but you also need to give yourself room because you know you're going to wash up into the wall. And Reed giving everybody plenty of room, but not giving himself the room he needs.
Not the room he needs. Is he's slid behind Carl Pooler now for this 8th position. Is he's just trying to hang on, and surprisingly, Brandon, I don't know how, but with those hits he had to the wall, this car looks completely fine when it comes to the right front fender. I mean, I would have expected major damage and even possibly a toe link broken. This 25 has lucked out completely here to not be completely destroyed.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, those were hits that we would see in the Gen 6 car, that would ruin your race. Your speed would just disappear from a hit like that. And we've seen guys break toe links in this next gen car for a lot lighter hits than that. Somehow this thing's still going, but if he takes a couple more of those, I don't imagine it's going to hang on very well after that.
It's very possible that it will not. Again, it builds up over time. That damage makes things weaker and weaker and can cause major problems for you as the race goes on. Right here, so we're looking at Dallas Manis here. Great run for him, up to 6. He's got Adam Buzzio directly ahead of him, and these two in the same set of tires here in a very good position to better themselves for longer in this race. So right now, Manis doing an excellent job to hang on to a top 6 position. No playoff worry for him. He's just looking to get a good run. As a slight contact to the wall there, as we've seen that little bit of a wall kiss there multiple times throughout the night from a few guys.
Yeah, you talked about having a really good run here at Darlington. A top 5 is a fantastic finish. It's just as good as a win. And just trying to nurse that thing around here. Just about the same pace as what Buzzio has been running. I think Buzzio might be taking it easy on his tires, waiting to see if this long run comes around, because like we said, he's in position here. He doesn't have to pit again. So if this thing goes green, he needs these tires to last, and doing a pretty good job of it ahead of him.
Really doing an excellent job for sure. And one of the things I'm most intrigued watching just lap times. You know, I love to sit here and look at lap times ebb and flow back and forth through the field. And, you know, Gavin Rogers right now, I mean, he is on a different level when it comes to those tire advantage he has over the guys ahead of him. I mean, last time by, Stephen Borbell at 30.185 to Gavin Rogers 29.67. Is here you can actually see Manis, he's trying to make a move on Buzzio now. So just showing you nobody's willing to wait right now. They're trying to make up spots and get some track position. But I think that 77 to Rogers, he's quickly going to be an issue for these top two up front.
Well, I'm wondering at the same time exactly how much Stympian may be saving here, knowing he's got this tire disadvantage, and or on the flip side of that, how hard Gavin Rogers is pushing right now to try to make up the gap that he has on that lead position. As you see now, going to the inside of Borbell. Borbell giving him plenty of room here, riding that top seam, gonna lift just a little bit loose, and an easy pass for the 77.
This is going to give him open track to our leader, Steven Stympian, a 1 second delta separating our top two from the lead position. And right now, also, I mean, look at 39 laps on Steven Stympian's tires, 25 on Gavin Rogers. It is a exponential amount of difference between these two sets of tires, and it is going to get down to crunch time here very, very soon for these top two.
Yeah, it's in such a hard position to be in too. Stympian knows that even if he saves his tires and he's able to hold off Gavin Rogers here without a caution, it's all for naught. So he's just trying to run the best that he can, maintain the position that he holds currently, and just hoping somebody makes a mistake, something that's going to keep him in this thing and not bring him down for green flag pit stops, because he's most likely going to go a lap down and lose a lot of positions.
It very well could possibly be that way. We'll have to see how far they can go in fuel. We don't have a good rough number on it, so we'll have to see. I mean, right now, a gut feeling tells us that Steven Stympian would need to pit again, but it's possible. We've seen it happen before where people were able to save enough fuel to get to the end of a event. But we're quickly closing in on here on 30 laps to go in this race. It's been an excellent show so far. Twists and turns all throughout it, but we're going to go to our final commercial break of the night here for the Wicked Racing League as they look to close out season number 2 with a bang here as they'll get ready to make their final four here heading into Kansas next week. So you're not going to want to miss a thing. We're going to head side by side so you don't miss nothing on the screen, and we'll be back here in the next few moments, folks.
The best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
And we are back here, folks, as we just had the lead change hands. Gavin Rogers just made the pass on Steven Stimpian down in turns 1 and 2 with just under 30 laps to go in this event. So Rogers to the front. Steven Stimpian, though, we think has to make a pit stop. Other drivers like Blaine Wilson, Stephen Borbell all hit pit road here in the last few laps. So this is a telltale sign of we may have to see this 81 at some point hit pit road. 50 laps into this run at the moment, but I think he's going to stretch it as far as he possibly can. But right now, you got to feel for that 81 who's just so fast, but the tire difference and the fuel just not going to be able to make the difference as Rogers able to storm to the lead.
Well, Zach, I think one glimmer of hope we have to remember is that Wilson and Borbell, they last pit before this most recent pit stop 10 laps before Steven Stimpian at the end of stage 2, and they stayed out to get that track position. So maybe there's enough fuel in the tank for the 81 here, but unfortunately it looks like the tires are the determining factor at the moment for the 81.
Yeah, got to remember that, man, oh man, there's 12 or 14 lap difference in tires here between these top two. So you got to give Steven Stimpian credit for a valiant effort to even be within the range, the race for the win here. But it looks like Rogers' tires just going to be too much as it's 21 laps to go here at Darlington. Rogers looking to get his second win in the round of 8 as he's already locked in to get to Kansas next week. But this is just more momentum to build for our defending series champion. This kid is on a roll.
Yeah, a spectacular race, up 13 positions, by far our biggest mover of the night. The next closest looks like it's going to be the 8 of Jimmy Kubinek, up 5 right now, sitting in the 5th position. So Gavin Rogers, slow, methodical, but just like last week, he has made his way to the front.
He has made his way methodically through the field. I mean, similar to, like you said, to last week at Dover. So congrats to him so far on an excellent drive. I mean, he has no worries. He can go out here and risk a little bit more by driving a little bit harder than these other guys to try to hold on, you know, to get this victory, because he knows he's locked in. He has no worries. He wrecks out of this race. He is still going on to Kansas to fight for a championship. So Rogers has got to be feeling great out front with 19 laps to go. But I tell you what also feels great, that's to raise money for a charity, and that's what we're doing here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we're getting ready to come to our second charity event here of 2023, and it's going to be the Gamers Outreach 600 there with the Gen 4 Cup Series car at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for 600 miles. Like I said, it is going to be a fantastic time raising money for children out there, and a caution is out on the speedway. This changes everything here. Remember to go check out our Discord there for Gamers Outreach for our 600 to get signed up. June 10th there, 6 p.m. Eastern. You ain't gonna want to miss it. But guess what? The perplexion of this race has changed, so we got to get back to this action. There is a caution on the speedway, and this is huge for this 81.
Yeah, that was, and Stimpian made a comment over the radio about how appreciative he was that came out. This opens the door wide open. We may still see that Grand Slam take place, but he's going to have to get by the 77 on pit road here.
Oh, man. As they all come to pit road, it was Mason Hossman who wrecked all by himself to bring out this wreck. And, man, you got to feel for Hossman because that's his teammate leading the race. That yellow's not going to help, and multiple drivers here coming in late to get involved in. I think when we see this replay, you're going to be kind of mind-blown how this all played out here. Is, man, oh man, this is crazy scenes here out front in the field.
Yeah, I saw the initial spin, Zach, and then just a beat later, you see carnage, and Mason Hossman just a little bit loose out of turn 2, trying to catch it, but these things are so difficult to get back underneath of you. It's going to come down, slap the inside wall, and then just lose it back to the right. Car's coming by. It's going to bring out the caution. He stops on the racetrack after nosing it into the wall. But man, this the extracurriculars afterward, that was, whew. So it's a good thing this is a sim, Zach.
Yeah, that was some heavy hits here. We're going to get to see those as the 78 here is parked. It's going to be the 47 of Shade, the 2 of Borbell coming through, and also that 18 of Wilson involved in this as it all stacked up there off of turn number 2. And Man, oh man, it really changed the complexion of this race, as I believe Johnny Shade now with the lead, but I think he's on pit road. So this is these things have shook up everything, and now we're going to get a battle for the win because Gavin Rogers is going to have that lead. Steven Stipien going to be second after the race off of pit road, and Adam Buzzio in third, looking to maybe make the final four for himself.
Yeah, and man, this is nerve-wracking here. I mean, now at a track that it's already so difficult to run side by side, you've got guys on fresh tires that are just gonna send it. And if you're somebody like Buzzio that's running third, unfortunately third for Adam Buzzio, he's maybe hoping these guys get into it and he has a lane available to him to try to get by at least one of them, maybe both of them. Would love to have that win, but the same for Carl Pooler and Dakota Camper behind him. They're going to be trying to go as hard as they can to try to sneak as many positions, skirt by any incident maybe our leaders have together. This is going to be a wild shootout to the end.
It will very, very much be a wild shootout to the end, man. This is going to be crazy. I mean, how much does Steven Stipien risk here, Brandon? I mean, we know he wants to go get the victory, but you know, he wants to lock himself into that final four. Also, he should be in a very good position when it comes to points wise. But still, if someone like, you know, out there goes and gets a win like Dakota Camper there in the 5th position, that changes the whole scenario of, you know, who finishes 4th could be the driver knocked out in points. So Steven Stipien's got to weigh those options, but I think he's going to go full send here.
Well, I think if you're in the position that Steven Stipien is, especially, you know how fast you've been over the duration of this entire race. The only thing on your mind right now is, I'm going to win this race. If he was maybe a little bit more off pace and he'd been running, you know, 3rd or 4th or 5th most of the night, you're thinking about the points here. Like, man, I got good stage points. I'm running 2nd right now. P2 is going to guarantee me for the way that I'm seeing it right now, it's going to guarantee me into the next round. I'm just going to hold station here and not risk anything. I fully anticipate seeing the 81 do everything he can to win this race.
We'll see if he can get it done. This is going to be fun to watch. Coming to 14 to go. When we get that green flag, Rogers with the lead, and both of these drivers' best lap time so far in the event. Both of them a 29.168, so they got even speed when it comes to that. We're going to get to the Geico restart zone, and it's all going to start from there. Who's going to win tonight's event here at Darlington? The green is out, and Rogers with a great start, but Steven Stipien with a good enough one to where he doesn't let Buzzio get too far along. This 81's going to be fighting for 2nd here off of 2. Can he have enough time to run down to 77?
We're going to find out. He gets clear of the 5 of Buzzio. Now sets his sights forward. Don't even bother looking in the mirror. Just hoping here that he's got enough pace that he has figured out a good line through. But look at that, Gavin Rogers ahead of him, a little bit wide up the racetrack. That's going to cut down into the time to the gap that he has to Stipien even more. And looking at the times last time, Gavin Rogers a decent bit faster.
A decent bit faster for sure, about 3 to 2 tenths there between the top 2. But can Steven Stipien find the grip here in the final 13 laps? We're on board with the 81, the driver who won pole position, the driver who won stage 1, the driver who won stage 2. No tire saving here, no management. It's all about speed, and this 81's a ton of it, and this lap here are going to be a burner from that machine there. A 29.141 is fastest lap of the race for Steven Stipien, a 29.272 for Rogers. Stipien can see the gap closing in, but the closer he gets, Brandon, the tougher it gets.
Oh, absolutely. The dirty air is going to start to affect him the closer and closer he gets. And like you talked about, setting that fastest lap of the race, he is using this cool track to its utmost right now, trying to just squeeze every little bit of racetrack that he can to find any little bit of speed. He scuffed the fence out of turn 4, and again, another quicker lap, a 29.03.
0.31 for that 81, and 0.67 for the driver ahead. Both of them are fastest times of the event. Steven Stipien the fastest one overall in the event. So right now pace is being shown from these top 2 out front, but I think Rogers has got to like what he's feeling right now, because when you're at Darlington, you have the clean air, you have so much of an advantage. It is that much tougher to be, you know, quicker. It's one thing being quicker to someone, Brandon, but passing them is a whole different story.
Yeah, all you have to do at Darlington, if you've just got a slight speed disadvantage, you take the preferred line and it becomes incredibly difficult to pass you. As long as you do not make a mistake, they have to work so hard to make that pass. And on even tires like this, it is such an uphill battle for Steven Stimpian right now. Even if he gets to him with the speeds that they're running, they are almost mirroring each other, but Gavin Rogers just a little bit faster last time.
Yeah, a little bit faster for sure. And Rogers in the last 3 times has been a 29.0, a 29.0, and a 29.0. So that just shows you the speed he's carrying. I mean, both of these drivers tying for the fastest lap of the race at 29.031. It just shows you how close they are on speed when it comes down to this. But it's only 8 laps to go, and the gap is growing there for Gavin Rogers. But the big thing for him, he's got the 2 of Borbell right ahead of him, who's got to be fighting to stay on the lead lap. This is all the playoffs on the line for him. He needs a good finish, and if he gets a caution, that'll allow him to push himself farther forward.
Yeah, and that's something else. You've got to kind of weigh that of, man, this is the leaders here, but I also need to stay on the lead lap. If I get a caution late here, that could completely change the complexion of my race. It might even spur me on to that final 4 if I can get some fresh tires on this thing. And ooh, Steven Stimpian turning a 28.99 here as Gavin Rogers has caught the 2. He has turned it up.
He has definitely turned it up that lap. Didn't think we'd see a 28 so far, but there it was, a 28.99 from Steven Stimpian. And right now, Borbell here still trying to fight for that position. Will he let the 77 by here down to 1, or does he fight him through 1 and 2? That's what Stimpian wants to see, but Borbell just going to let him by. Now, how fast can Stimpian get by him? Because he's going to catch him at the worst spot of the track.
Oh, no, it might look like, I guess it didn't cost him too much time there. But unfortunately didn't hold up the 77 nearly as much as he needed.
Respectful move there from the 2 machine to get out the way, even though he's got playoffs on the line, to let these 2 go and battle for that lead position with 5 laps to go. Steven Stimpian a couple hundredths again quicker that last time by. Down to 0.3 of a second though. Can he do anything now? The clear track for the 77. He's got to be loving this, and already through 1 and 2, opening up about a 1/10 of a gap.
Right now, both of these drivers are just trying to not make mistakes. You are pushing as hard as you can, getting every bit of speed out of it, but do not make that mistake. Do not be the one to hit the wall and throw it away.
Do not hit that wall. Do not make mistakes. Tough to do here at the Darlington Speedway, but these top 2 have been lights out here after the restart so fast. And even Adam Buzzio just behind him about a 1.5 seconds. If anything was to happen to these 2, it might open the door for that 5 who's just trying to make his way into that final 4 position for the playoffs. But right now, Rogers out of 4. Going to see that flag stand to see 3 laps to go. He wants 2 more here to get that white flag, and then that'll put him in the best position possible.
And turning faster laps right now than Steven Stimpian. I think Stimpian has just maybe burned it up just a little bit too much here, trying to catch Gavin Rogers, but you can't blame him. You had to push at this point in the race.
You had to do everything in your power, and right now the 81 just not got the drive he needs to come off the corner. And just you can see there the slide off of 4, that nose pushed up high. That 81, it looks like he's going to need some type of help from a yellow flag if he wants any more shots of this, because it's up to 0.8 of a second, almost a full second between our top 2. And down the back straightaway, Rogers continuing to open the gap. This 77 won the championship last season, was excellent all throughout these playoffs. Had a little bit of controversy there in Michigan, but came back to Dover, got the victory to lock himself in, and now he sees the freaky fast white flag. It's 1 to go here at Darlington, and Rogers looking to get a 2nd win in a row to maybe propel him to a 2nd championship.
Well, a perfect lockout for this final round before the championship race of the 77, and back-to-back weeks. Storms through the field here when it matters the most, puts himself in the position that he needs to be, and he's going to come out of turn 4 here a winner at Darlington.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner for the 77. Big time win for him as he, like you said, wins both races a round of 8 and gets that victory. Steven Stimpian going to be feeling heartbroken coming home in the second position, but should feel nonetheless good that he's going to Kansas with a shot to race for the championship. The other two coming along with him is going to be yet to be decided, and we'll have to see who can join Gavin Rogers and Steven Stippian in that Final Four. As Rogers comes around 4 here, he's going to look to celebrate here, Brandon, and this is a huge victory for that driver.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about momentum being everything in racing. Winning these back-to-back races for this round of 8 and then going in to race for a championship, he is riding a high right now, and I cannot wait to see this championship race next week because Gavin Rogers has got to be the favorite.
He's got to be up there, that's for sure. This man has been dominant at points, had his ups and downs, made the comeback here in this round of 8 after the penalty coming into Dover. Didn't matter, though. This man goes on to win 2 races in a row, looking for a second championship in a row in just a mere week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting with the Wicked Racing League. As he continues to ride around the racetrack before I guess he goes to burnout, we're going to step aside here to get our top 3 drivers and a spotlight driver to join him here for our post-race show as the 77 burns it down. We'll be back in the next few moments. Welcome back to the post-race show here, Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Wicked Racing League, for the Buttkicker Cup Series, for the Sundance Pizza 175. And what's crazy to say, the Sundance Pizza car gets in victory lane, so that's got to be huge for that team there, the 77 Rogers, who for sure capitalizes and gets himself into the Final Four there, heading into next week at Kansas. Let's hear from your back-to-back winner here, Gavin Rogers. Hey, Gavin and Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure.
Well, bud, a great race for yourself, man. Starting back near the tail of the field once again, but it doesn't matter. You get out here and get that victory. That's got to feel good for that Sundance pizza car.
Oh yeah, man, it's awesome. Getting the Sundance Pizza car in victory lane for the Sundance Pizza, whatever it is, 200 or whatever. But yeah, just a great race. Starting from the back again, 2 weeks in a row. Maybe I have to do it for Kansas. But yeah, we had a good race, strong car. Just 2 in a row. Hopefully we can make it 3. Kind of do a similar thing like last season, but we'll have to see how it goes. I feel pretty confident though.
Well, Gavin, first, congratulations, back-to-back wins here, sweeping this round of 8, setting yourself up with some great momentum for this championship race at Kansas come next week. Secondly, I got to ask you, where can I get some Sundance pizza? Because I am starving right now.
Yeah, it's up in Wickenburg, Arizona. We don't just got pizza, we got everything. I mean, we got wings, burgers, burritos, hot dogs, ice cream, tacos, all kinds of fried items, and it's all quality food. So if you want to come up to Wickenburg. It's address is I don't know what it is. You have to just look up Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg. But yeah, we're excited about this win for sure.
Definitely got to be, man. Y'all guys are making me hungry too, man. But before we get you out of here, Gavin, man, I mean, how much preparation is going to go into next week? We know you want to go get that back-to-back championships. How prepared are you think you're going to be for Kansas next week?
Yeah, I think I'll be pretty prepared. Hopefully, I got Tuesday off of work from Sundance Pizza, so I know I got quite a lot of laps for last season at Charlotte. Just gonna try to do the same, and hopefully we can get things figured out and be as fast as today and last week.
Well, Gavin, that's a for sure thing. You're going to be a factor, my friend, as you always are up front battling for that victory. We're going to get to see what you can do once again to see if you can win that second championship in a row, my friend. But before we let you get out of here and go celebrate and get prepared for next week, anybody want to send a shout out to?
Yeah, first off, shout out to Sundance Pizza. Always. Shout out to Printed Pieces, Jet Set Magazine, Next Level Karting, and Autism Awareness. That'll probably be my car for next week. You know, I gotta support my brothers. And shout out to my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, my karting teammates, Giovanni and David, their families, and everybody watching at home. Shout out to you guys as well.
Well, Gavin, congrats on the back-to-back victories, my friend. You have a great night, and we'll catch you next week at Kansas.
Thank you, guys.
All right, folks, that was your race winner here tonight for the Sundance Pizza car and the Sundance Pizza car itself. So that is pretty cool. So gotta love seeing the sponsor of the race get the victory with being on the car. So congrats to him on that finish. But now we move to the man that finished second. Has got to be feeling a little bit down from that finish after winning the pole, winning both stages, but has to feel also confident heading into the Final Four with a good solid night here at Darlington. Let's hear from Steven Stippian in the 81. Hey, Steven, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy.
What's up, guys?
Well, man, I know that one's got to sting just a little bit, how dominant the 81 was here tonight. But can you take some malice out of here coming out of tonight, knowing how well you run and knowing you will be fighting for a championship next week here on Wicked Racing League for a championship? So, I mean, how do you feel coming out of here? I know you got to be feeling a little bit down, though.
Yeah, just take the letdown this week and go out and dominate next week. That's all I got to do.
Well, Stim, a fantastic race. Plenty of speed here at Darlington from you as always, and you've locked yourself in. You know, what is it that you feel like, you know, kind of let this race get away from you? You know, we saw Gavin Rogers pit about lap 115. You know, it seemed like maybe those tires kind of ended up being the difference. You know, is there anything that you might have changed during this race to kind of keep this one underneath you?
Probably starting first on that restart, that last restart. I started in second. I mean, I was doing it all night, starting in second, and felt pretty good about it. Just thought first gear was too quick of a shift to start in, but that kind of was what let Gavin get away there. I mean, that's probably the only thing I would change. I wouldn't change anything. I made my bed not pitting early on. You know, after that last stage when the caution came out, I knew we were going to have another caution. You know, I was able to maintain the lead pretty good. even with the guys that pitted and came in at that last stop there. But yeah, it is what it is, man. I love this track. It's 2 back-to-back weeks tracks that I really love, and now I'm going to Kansas, which is pretty up there for me for performance. I've always had a good track record there, and I get a little head start this weekend in another league on Sunday night, so we'll see.
Yeah, like you said, heading into Kansas, I mean, what do you feel like is going to be the key there? I mean, we saw tonight track position, clean air was very valuable, of course, but what do you feel like Kansas might be that key component to getting that victory and getting that championship?
Just, stay clean, stay out of trouble, get a good qualifying effort in next week, and just stay up front, and win myself a championship, man. That's been a monkey on the back, man, that I haven't been able to give a stone cold stunner to and get off my back, but hopefully. I just realized that's back-to-back weeks that I referenced wrestling in my interview. But I mean, I'm happy, man. I mean, yeah, I'm going for a championship. Yeah, I'm a little down tonight. I really want to get a win from my dad, and I really wanted that grand slam there with the pole and the 2 stages. But I think I showed the guys something tonight. I'm here, and it's I'm trying to win. That's the only message I could have sent tonight, other than winning.
That's for sure, my friend. You are definitely here. They'll know that leaving the track here tonight, Darlington, and they know you're going to be a tough one to beat heading into Kansas next week. But before we let you get out of here, man, any shout outs you want to send, and of course, happy birthday to your father.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to my pops. Love you, pops. Got to see him earlier. That was always good to spend some time with him, and obviously you guys, week in, week out, the job that you guys do every week. I mean, it's probably one of the best broadcasts out there. So if you're out there in a league and you need one, hit them up. I don't know what their schedule's like, but obviously, Adam and the job these guys do for running the league, and we're coming down to the last race of the season. It's been a fun season, and we'll see what happens. Love you, babe. You're out working. My son's sleeping. My boys are Cat 5. 2 of you in here. Love all y'all. We'll see you next week.
Well, Steven, man, congrats on the great run here tonight. The dominant performance, unfortunately, coming a little bit up short, but we'll catch you next week fighting for a championship.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, guys, that was your second place finisher tonight. The guy who set on pole, won both stages, but did not get that victory, just coming up short the Freaky Fast Grand Slam. I think that puts in perspective how tough that Grand Slam is, and when you get it done, it just is that much of accomplishment, in my opinion. So tough ordeal there for him, but nonetheless, once again, a great run for him. And also, again, happy birthday to Mr. Stympian out there, always supporting us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So thank you to those guys. But now we'll move on to third and possibly the driver. I don't want to say for sure because we haven't got word yet on official stats. I say Steven Stympian is officially in there, but that could change too. I just doing math in our head sometimes can be messed up. But we'll move on to our third place driver. I think we'll be joining the other Final Four. That's Adam Buzzio. Hey, Adam, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, man, excellent drive for you here tonight, man. You came in below the cut line. We are, doing the math in our head here a little bit. We feel like you've done enough with the 78's misfortunes of being involved in an incident, not getting stage points there in stage 2. We feel like the 5 has done possibly enough here to put himself into the Final Four. I mean, man, how does it feel to come out of Darlington with possibly a chance to go fight for a championship?
Oh, man. It feels good, man. It really, really, really does. I think based on what I'm hearing, I haven't done any math myself. I haven't had time, but based on what I'm hearing, I think I got it by about 4 or 5 points. Obviously, you said it. Unfortunately, Mason had some misfortune in the beginning of the race. But I'm going to be honest. Even when he was 5 or 6 laps down or whatever it was, I still wasn't confident that we were going to make it. With only 15 or 16 cars on the track, I still had to go out there and get a good finish and get points. So I'm really happy it worked out, man. This isn't my best track. So to finish third and advance feels really good.
Well, Adam, the meme lives on, forever third. But at Great Race, all things considered, what do you think you need to do going into Kansas to go from that third position to first and possibly winning that championship?
Well, follow me here. If Gavin and Alex just wreck each other, all I got to do is beat Steven. And he's quick too, but that's only one guy compared to three. So that's my strategy going into Kansas.
I like that plan.
It's going to be tough. On all seriousness, I mean, everybody knows that Alex and Gavin have been the fastest all season. Steven, too, has really stepped up his game in the second half of the season. He's been consistently fast every week. Him and it seems like we're racing each other every single week. So it's gonna be tough, man. But I'm excited just to be going for it. I'm happy to have made it 2 seasons in a row, especially with the level of competition we've had this season. So I'm just, it's one of those things. Sounds cliche. I'm just happy to be there, though.
No doubt, man. I mean, it's definitely a high level of competition here, Adam. And I mean, you brought up your competition, how tough it's going to be there. How do you feel about the Kansas Speedway? Because that's her track, going to fight there.
It's one of those tracks, man. For whatever reason, I actually don't have a lot of laps in on it. But it suits my driving style, though. I like those 1.5 miles where you have to manipulate the throttle and then do a little bit of trail braking. So I'll do some practice, a lot of practice, and we'll try to figure it out from there.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch next week, man. We can't wait to get there. But before we let you get out of here and go get prepared for next week at Kansas, Adam, anybody want to send a shout out to, my friend?
Oh, yeah, for sure. As always, thank you guys so much for everything you do for the league with the broadcast and just getting our name out there. We sincerely appreciate it. You guys do a fantastic job, so that goes without saying. I want to thank Buttkicker, VJT Consulting, Ideal East, and Trivista for being our sponsors this season and everything they do for our league and really making a lot of this possible as far as the budget and the prizes that are allotted at the end of the season. I want to thank my teammate Steven. He was my cheerleader all night tonight, man. He kept me going. I want to thank my wife Julie and thank everybody in the league. Doesn't work without the drivers, so appreciate everybody.
That it really does not, Adam. Well, man, congrats, like I said, again, on third, and hopefully next week we talk to you 2 positions better and holding the championship.
Forever third, baby. Thank you, guys.
All right, folks, that was your third place driver here tonight, Adam Buzzio. What a drive for him. The driver coming home in fourth, Dakota Camper. We're going to get a talk with him now in the 43 as we believe he comes up just a tiny bit short of making the Final Four. Again, this is all unofficial. We'll find out all that heading into next week, and you get to see on our broadcast at Kansas. But let's hear from Dakota Camper in the 43 who had a whirlwind of a night. Hey, Dakota, it's Zach and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, a whirlwind of a night for you in the 43. It seemed like you were everywhere from the top 5 to even outside of that top 10 tonight. Take us through your run here at Darlington, because it looked like it was all over the place.
Yeah, I was just not fast enough, honestly. I was trying to find the speed throughout the race, and it, got to the beginning of the race. I held with the top 3 for a while. And but then I burned my tires up, and I think I drifted all the way back to 8th at the end of the first stage. And then I was shuffling strategies every other lap, trying to figure out some way to get to the lead without driving up there because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. But I pitted under caution, one of those wrecks right at the end of stage 2, and then I stayed out at the end of the stage and got back up front. And then tried to pit again there when it was close on fuel, hoping that people would run out. But then another caution came, and you got Gavin and Steven and Adam in front of me, and we're all on the same tires. I was giving it my all, but that was the best I could get.
Well, Dakota, fantastic race, all things considered, with the ups and downs. You managed to bring this thing home in the top 5 here for a 4th place finishing position. Looking onward to Kansas, again, we don't know the full details of what the point situation looks like, but it potentially could be close. How do you feel going into Kansas with the possibility right now that you might be racing for a championship?
I really don't think I'll be racing for a championship. I think Adam's probably going to be the 4th one in there with Gavin and Steven and I think Alex. Those guys were class of the field all year, and they deserve it. But Kansas, it's a fun racetrack. I like ripping the outside. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be one of those what could have been if we go down there and get a win. But yeah, I like Kansas is okay. But yeah, just looking forward to a good race between those championship contenders. And if some miracle happens and we're in there, we're gonna give it our all either way, whether we're in the championship or not, because we like getting a checkered flag before the season's over.
That you definitely would, Dakota, man. I tell you what, it's been a good season so far up to this point. One race to go, and it's going to be fun to watch. But before we let you get out of here and go get prepared for next week at Kansas, anybody want to send a shout out to?
Yeah, big shout out to the Gathering Place Church. If anybody's looking for a church online, 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings, the Gathering Place Church on Facebook and Gathering Place Church Live on YouTube. Check us out. Unchained Motorcycle Ministry, they do such good work around Bristol Motor Speedway area. Love serving with those guys and girls. My parents, I stream on Twitch, and they hang in there every night watching me race and keeping me company. So appreciate them hanging in there. You guys who do such a great job on the broadcast each week, and to these admins who have kept the season fair all year long, and just getting asked for more.
That it was, man. It was a great season, Dakota, and congrats on the 4th place finisher tonight. We'll catch you at Kansas next week.
Thank you.
All right, folks. That was your spotlight driver tonight. Your 4th place finisher of Dakota Camper is, like he said, most likely it looks like he's going to come up just a little bit short of making that final 4. But man, oh man, up to this point, it's been a toss-up for all these drivers that got to the round of 8. Anybody could have been the ones moving on, and it looks like the 4 moving on are going to be a tough group to beat. The man we know is moving on is the guy we got on screen, the 77 of Rogers, as he gets the win tonight, and we get to see those unofficial results with Steven Stippian there coming up short from the Freaky Fast Grand Slam with a 2nd place finish to end out tonight. Adam Buzzio in 3rd. 4th goes the Dakota Camper. 5th place is going to be Dallas Manis. 6th is going to be Cody Reed. 7th is going to go to Jimmy Kubadek. 8th is going to be Carl Pooler. 9th is going to be Johnny Shade. And rounding out the Freaky Fast top 10, it's Alex Coffey. And as we look through the rest of the field, Brandon, definitely some ones that stand out farther back.
Yeah, I got to think Blaine Wilson and Mason Hausman just off the top of my head. I mean, we saw earlier in the race, Hausman, first time racing here, had to buy the track just to show up to this race inside the top 5 with a lot of speed, but the lady in black, she bites. And unfortunately going to round out tonight in the 14th position, 25 laps down, and unfortunately going to knock himself out of the chance for a championship next week in Kansas. But Zach, a lot of great racing here in Darlington. There typically is, and a lot of guys able to keep their cars clean, name of the game here, and bring out a really good finishing position.
That it really was, man. Some great racing here tonight for 175 laps here at the Darlington Raceway. It was very fun to watch, and it really was a mixed bag of strategies throughout the whole thing. Other than Steven Stippian dominating stage 2, after that 2nd stage ended, it seemed like it was anybody's game from that point as Gavin Rogers would go on to get the victory. But what a night it was here for the penultimate race of the Wicked Racing League here for the Buttkicker Cup Series. And before we talk about next week in Kansas, Brandon, I think back to the incident between Mason Hausman. If that ends up being Hausman knocked out of that final 4 there, and Alex Coffey, of course, in it, do you think any of that could carry over? We know Hausman, teammates of Rogers, that team and Alex Coffey have had their bumps and bruises throughout the season. Do you think any of that could carry over to have an effect on that 7 heading into Kansas next week?
Well, that's a very good point, Zach. And, I don't know the personal relationship between the two of them, but obviously, like you talked about, there has been run-ins between the team, his teammate and Coffey. And it just, I guess it depends on if, Hausman feels like, maybe it should have been done differently. I viewed it as a typical Darlington racing incident, but, drivers, you got wrecked, you're mad, and you feel like maybe something should have been done differently, especially the position that you're in as a playoff driver, maybe a little bit more room given. We'll have to see, and if it comes to that, that's going to be some exciting fireworks next week at Kansas.
That it will be. You're not going to want to miss it, folks, as we're live here every Wednesday here with the Wicked Racing League at 8 8:50 Eastern here, as we're going to be bringing you the championship race next week here, as we get to crown another champion. Will it be Gavin Rogers that goes and gets his second championship in a row, or will it be one of the other three joining him in the final four? It's going to be fun to watch, no doubt, as we had an excellent race here tonight at Darlington. But before we get out of here, Brandon, any final thoughts from Darlington, and what do you think we can expect to see at that Kansas Motor Speedway?
Darlington was Darlington. I mean, it's a quintessential race here is what you'll see every time any league goes to Darlington. These guys that are patient manage to find their way to the front. I mean, you saw Gavin Rogers started 14th, managed to make his way to the front, keeping it clean. So a great race here overall with the Wicked Racing League at Darlington. And Kansas next week, I'm not sure what to expect. I've never really been too big of a fan of Kansas. It's just the multiple grooves. It's just so hard, from track to track. Each different session, depending on the temperatures for the racetrack, can change up how you need to approach that track. So these guys are going to have to put in a lot of practice in varying conditions to know really what to expect when they unload at Kansas next Wednesday. But Zach, hear me out here. Adam Buzzio had a theory about how he's going to get that championship. I'm calling it. He's going to finish third and win that championship.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Brandon Colley has called his shot. He says that it's going to play out the way Adam Buzzio sees it. And I mean, I tell you, it's a high possibility. We know the 7 and the 77, how they race each other. And when you put a championship on the line, it may get that much even tougher. And, looking back to season 1, Alex Coffey and Gavin Rogers, they raced for the win at Kansas. Alex Coffey won the race. Gavin Rogers finished second. Alex Coffey led 73 laps. Gavin Rogers led 85. So it was a mano-a-mano battle between those two. And with how they've raced each other this season, it could turn into a mano-a-mano in the wall battle. So we could quickly see fireworks fly between those two. And Adam Buzzio, like he said, could be that man in third to go and get that victory for the championship. And that would be a huge storyline ending out season 2 here for the Wicked Racing League for the Buttkicker Cup Series. But man, what a time it'll be. You ain't going to want to miss it. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can be notified right when we go live, and also hit the bell notification button. It'll send you a notification to say, hey, we are live here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, because we got good racing all throughout the week, all the way back around to Wednesday. As tomorrow night, we got the Stars and Stripes ARCA series as they continue on for their playoff round here, as we get to see how that all shakes out. Then Saturday night, we'll have the start of the playoffs for the World Series of Sim Racing to see how they start their first race there at the Legacy Kentucky Speedway. Then we head back to the ISRC Truck Series where they'll continue their playoffs, and then also Tuesday night at Full Sin where they continue their playoffs, because it's playoff time here at Freaky Fast. You're not going to miss a thing. Like I said, hit that subscribe button so you can join us for our next broadcast. And thank you all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure from myself, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley, and Robert Moyer Jr. As I always say, stay freaky fast.